Right on. Yeah, we're live, brother.
Good evening.
So, how are the fires going up there, man?
Yeah, so it's a little crazy. I mean, there's a lot of fires. I mean, really, it looks like when you're watching and listening to what's going on, it's kind of like three big fires, but really, it's like there's like 50 fires around, like surrounding the whole of the southern British Columbia. But then that also goes into south below us. There's fires in Montana.
Oh
So
wow.
there's just smoke constantly, which it kind of comes and goes. Sometimes it's thick and orange, sometimes it clears and it's only like a yellow fog. But it smells like forest fire for about 14 days in a row. Like it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm safe. Kelowna, where I'm living, is we're good. We're just surrounded by fires. But they seem to be taking care of it okay. I mean, they get firefighters from all over the world. We've got Australian firefighters who come to help. Mexican firefighters are here. So the whole world's pitching in and helping out, but it's all good. We're safe. It's just a little smoky and a little stinky. I came home from being away for a week. I went to the coast to get some fresh air with the family. So we went
Nice.
to Vancouver and it was beautiful. We had that beautiful ocean air, so we could go out and kick the ball around with the kids for a week and have some fun. And then I came back and I had to get the blower out because there's ash everywhere. The fires are so close, the ash falls. So all the my poor ladies back there, I was blowing them off, trying to get the ashes off them. But luckily, we're not deep into flower. We're just flowers beginning, so it's not like I've got contaminated buds that I need to worry about yet. So
Yeah.
I'll be positive and optimistic. All is well. I was happy to come back and see stretching plants. All the ladies were stretching, and I've got some that are well into flower. I've got what is my the Sudanese I have, that's into flower like 3 or 4 weeks already, which is amazing. That's looking fantastic. And my purple Zacatecas, the Mexican there in my light depth, they kicked into flower before everything else. And then the Bull Oaxaca, that kind of kicked into flower next after the Zacatecas. And now I've got the killer A5 haze by Azad Vietnamese. They're into flower now, so they were kind of third in the light depth that flowered. And then the Thai doesn't really look like it wants to flower, and neither does the West Bengal, the Pashim Harmati. I can tell finally I can see some pistils, but I knew they were females already. But they just like maybe they're flowering, but they're really slow to show. And I'm hoping for the best. We'll see. I know
Yeah.
I kind of messed up my light depth early on, but I'm hoping that now that I've got the proper covering, that they'll all kick in. And even if they don't finish, I'm going to enjoy running them. And I'm just going to dust pollen on anything that I know is not going to finish. I'm just going to drop some pollen on them so I'm not wasting those females like that squirrel tail tie or those West Bengal, because I want to do something with the genetics. If I don't get to smoke it this time, I'll have clones and we'll make some seeds.
Hell yeah.
That's what's going on over here. What do you got going on?
Oh, as you saw when I sent the pictures, I managed to clear everything out, and man, it was a fight. Like I had 3 days of spraying. I have a product that I have something I use. It's a mix of sulfur and cinnamon and lactobacillus. And so I sprayed that 3 days in a row. It worked beautifully the way it was supposed to.
Nice.
I have to reintroduce a few things. Like, luckily, the dragonflies, the wasps, the bees, they all stuck around. I've had to reintroduce praying manti, ladybugs, green lacewings,
Okay. Yeah,
because that all got killed off in the process.
for
And
sure.
they were the shitty thing about it is they were starting to populate all on their own because they're
Mm,
populating other things in the neighborhood,
yeah.
because they've got food. Those
Yeah.
those predators have food, so they're populating other things. And so I'm like, man, I didn't want to have to, but I wanted to save my,
Yeah.
my plants out there. And so
For sure.
everything saved, I repopulated everything. I didn't use anything that was completely caustic that was going to kill everything off, so like, yeah, I had to treat, but in the end, it wasn't terrible,
Yeah.
you
Good
know.
job. And you were treating for broad mites. Is that correct? And
Yeah.
also, Rob, were you
Yeah,
not treating for broad mites as well? So yeah,
it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I ended
And
up
I
losing.
mean,
Go ahead.
go ahead. No, what
I
were you
ended
going
up
to say?
losing one of the Burmese bubba, but I treated everything else, and it looks like we got on top of it before it was too infested. So I'm hopeful.
Nice.
I appreciate
Nice.
your messaging me with those suggestions, bro.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, like I said, make sure you take everything. There's a lot of information out there. Take everything with a grain of salt. Utilize what works best for you, and
Yeah.
run with it. You know, that's
And
I dealt with this before. It's just one of those things that kind of slipped my mind. I don't know
yeah,
how something as serious as treating these plants with sulfur can slip my mind, but it did the last 2 years. That
Sure.
A5, Oaxacan A5 was bulletproof. And I got these problems last year with the North Vietnamese, and I didn't know what it was. I thought I might have had a soil contaminant. And thank God it's not that. I'm actually really thankful that it's these russet mites.
Yeah, like something you can actually
I
do
can actually
something
treat.
about. What do you do about soil? I mean, you can drench soil, but I mean, that's a
I
long
made
fight.
such a big investment in my soil.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
property, it's been like 10 years I've been feeding it. And I thought if that went bad, I really lost out on something.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really thankful that this is my problem. I can deal with it. I lost
That's
one
it.
plant, and everything else is looking great.
Nice.
They're all infested, like you said, all the other plants around it, but I was able to treat them before they showed symptoms, and I'm seeing under the scope the dying little
Beautiful.
larvas.
You're
They turn
winning.
white to like this golden brown color when they're dead.
nice.
They dry up.
There you go.
So we're hanging tough.
That's it, man. You got to fight, and it is a tough fight. I had some tough aphids to deal with a few years ago. Evening, Ryan. And I was doing what you were doing, Andy. I was watching the predator bugs were coming, and they know when like there's an infestation. So I had this aphid issue, and it wasn't on my cannabis yet; it was on a tree, and so I was able to test it out, and I was able to let it ride, and I was just watching, and I was like, as long as they stay on this tree, they devoured the tree. The tree almost like it's still alive now. It came back. It's a perennial. But they devoured it, and the tree was like, looked dead. They ate the whole entire tree. And it took until that whole tree was literally nothing left of it. And then there was so many ladybugs. I've never seen so many ladybugs in my life. And they ate every single aphid that existed. Then all the larvae were around, and they eat like 10 times the amount of a full grown ladybug. So they came and they saved my garden. But the tree didn't get saved. So even if you're waiting for your predators to win the fight, you're probably going to lose something until that pest population is high enough that there's so much food that they can come and take over and win. So, sometimes we got to get on it and do what you did and get your homemade sprays going and save what you've got.
Yeah, and that on top of it is like I also don't spray every plant. Like I strictly sprayed my cannabis plants because I wanted them to survive. Like I didn't spray the tomatoes on the other side of the yard. I didn't spray the trees at the back of the yard. I do want those predators and those pests to still have their homes away from my stuff. It's more like training. I'm training those things that this is not a safe spot for you.
Yes.
And at the same time, like I'm a firm believer in spraying as little as possible. Okay, because for me, like I believe that the plant itself will produce the things necessary for it to fight off the things that are bad in that environment, you know. And I understand some things like, you know, powdery mildew and things like that can affect things, you know, but and they can just come and go. They run with the wind and stuff like that. So you do want to treat those, you know, those spot things that show up. But in general, like, I'm not trying to use Lost Coast or the Circadian Sunrise or any of that other stuff if I don't have to use it.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm gonna wind up killing off predatory, like positive
Absolutely.
predatory pressure.
Of course.
And if I want to create the most hospitable environment for all of these plants, I want nature to work by itself, you know. And yeah, I'm gonna lose some stuff. Like, that's just the nature of the beast, you know, and I'm okay with that.
I agree. I've noticed when I got back, and I was staring at my plants because I'd been gone for a week. There's some aphids on my, you know, I was looking at the bull Oaxacan, the one that's up front in my terrace, just because it was right in front of my face, and I love the long, skinny fingers on it. I was just kind of loving it and looking at it, and there's aphids on it, but not very many. And I didn't straight away go to a spray because I know I've got this natural surrounding behind me, and I know that it can look after itself, but I'll keep an eye on it now. So now I know where they're at. And, you know, I was lifting some leaves, and they're not all covered under the leaves. It was just a couple here and there up on the stem. So, you know, got the finger squishing out, and we just popped a couple aphids. You know, that's the quick one. And then the second thing I'll do, if I see a few more and I'm still not ready to get out the sprays, I'll get at the hose. Get at the hose and I'll hose them off. I'll wash them off. You know, I'll spray underneath, kind of a stiff spray, and I'll run my hands up as well to kind of rub them off. And you can blast off a lot of pests with the hose and maybe take care of half that problem, or at least buy yourself some more time, you know. So I'll always try that.
For me, aphids outside, like, that is the number one treatment. That's my very first treatment. If I see aphids on my plants outside, the very first thing I'm doing is I'm taking off all of the filtering stuff. I'm taking everything off of it, and I'm spraying. I'm spraying hard water at that plant underneath to make sure all those leaves are coming up and moving. You know, that alone is going to take the majority of those aphids off of your plant. Absolutely. From that point on, it's just, you know, you could introduce the ladybugs that you find in the front yard into the backyard, or, you know, go to a neighbor's and find a praying mantis and bring it to that spot, you know, things like that. You know, if you're not infested, they work very well, and they help to keep your natural environment well.
100%. And for me, like, I know a little bit about what I'm seeing out there, but I'm not, you know, I don't know what all these insect eggs look like. And if I pop up a few leaves, if I scout enough, I'm going to see a little cluster of gray eggs under this leaf. 2 plants over, there's a little cluster of yellow eggs. And one of them are going to be the ladybug eggs. And some of them are going to be your lacewing eggs. So I'm leaving all that there, you know, and I'm learning. I'll kind of search up what certain eggs I'm looking at. But definitely same thing, that the hose is better than, like you said, you don't want to go and kill off everything you've got back there. Because after I saw these aphids, and then I was looking at a couple other plants in that area, I saw 1, 2, 3 ladybugs, and they're all there. So they're already there. They're already in place. And now we just wait, and we scout, and we keep going, and be positive, be optimistic. If you guys can beat broad mites, you know, kind of at a crucial time when flowering's about to begin, that's just shows that, you know, persistence and, you know, looking after your grow works.
Yeah, well, and being willing to lose some things, you know, like I didn't make it through unscathed. Like, I lost 5 plants. You know, I lost a watermelon plant. I lost a lemon tree.
Shoot, hey.
because they were just at a point where I wasn't going to be able. And the lemon tree itself, it has had some problems before that, but like all that tells me is that it being infested with those as well tells me that it's not healthy, so it's time to go.
Yeah.
You
Because
know?
they know how to attack something that's weaker. That's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you take some losses and you take a lot of wins, and that's just the way it is. You gotta trust nature.
Yeah. Yes.
You
I
know?
suppose if you can, it depends on what kind of space you've got or plant count. But if you have a little bit of space, it's almost like plant one for you, plant one for the pests.
Mm-hmm.
If you only want to grow one of a certain variety, if you can, grow two, especially
Right.
outdoors. Indoors, you can control a little more, but outdoors is tricky. It's tricky.
And it's funny, like bringing up the whole. I sometimes I wonder like how much more resilient some of our plants are than some of these major farms because of the fact that we have less uh, ability to treat, and we have to rely on nature more. So there's a part of me sometimes that wonders if our welcome back, Ryan. If our plants, those of us that have smaller and tighter, more restrictive environments have a stronger, more resilient plant.
That's a great point to make. Do you think that sometimes these clones that run year after year in one facility will create an epigenetic change towards not being as strong as they used to be because they have their IPM scheduled at every 7 days or 14, right? So that could create an epigenetic change that they don't need to defend themselves the way they used to, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Great
They
point.
lose markers of defense that they had before. So when you're talking about, I lost it, it just doesn't have this anymore. Well, because you lost a defense mechanism that over the last 5 years, I mean, great, you haven't had that problem that it initially had that brought that mechanism forward. But now that you've taken it away for the last 5 years and you've gave this genetic line the ability to be away from it for so long, it's like, I don't have a problem with that. I don't need to worry about it. It's kind of like it's kind of like other plants, I guess. When other plants are grouped in things like that, they tend to fall victim to a specific predator. When they're brought to larger groupings,
Yes.
and they're singled out in a specific area, you'll see the first round or two, you're going to have more pest pressure in those areas. Being around farmers my whole life, like that's one thing I knew going into my garden is I was going to see pest pressure right away, because like I'm not going to be spraying.
Yeah, so they're coming to your yard, right?
Yeah, and so I knew I'd have to have a plan in place and things in place to make sure that I was prepared for those things.
Yeah, there it goes. Mark says, plant one for the deer, one for the neighbors, and one for you. Yeah, plant an extra if you can. Yes. So what has everyone got going on? Like, what's the update on varieties in everyone's yard? Because I know, Andy, did you lose some of your landrace varieties in this battle?
Yeah, I lost 2 of the Mama Samchais. I lost 2 of the Addy Reds. I lost 1 of the Jalapaguri. But I was able to, save one of the Jalapaguris, and she is beautiful. She's coming along real nice. 2 of the Mama Samchais, and then half of the largest Addy Red I was able to save.
Nice.
And so because I cleared out multiple spots, I was able to drop in 2 others. So I dropped in my number 36, my BBL Drizzy number 36, just to see how it does outside in ground this year.
Nice.
now that I have the opportunity to. And then I also dropped in a purple haze that I've had for the last 5 years that does pretty damn good outside. So
Beauty. So you did okay.
yeah.
You're going strong. I saw your Jalapaguri today, and it is beautiful. That's fantastic.
And then the freaks, I've obviously I've been working the freak line for a little bit. I'm on my F2 version right now. Once I get to F3 or F4, I'll probably start actually posting about it and showing them off. But for right now, they're still a little less than what I would like them to look like. So for
A
me,
little
they look
less
fine.
freaky. You want a little
Yeah.
more freak in your freaks?
Well, no, they're just a little less. They don't bush at all. Like I showed you on the one. All of them just have two nice big stems with solid stalks going the whole way up. The side branches don't really shoot out right now. I've only got like two or I think three plants, and they're all at my homie's house that have multiple branches coming out, and those are probably the females that I'm going to use the BBL Drizzy male pollen on to go for the F3s.
Next generation. Nice.
Yeah.
Exciting.
What about you, Rob?
I have some strains I got from Damien. We've got the Burmese Bubba Kush.
Yeah, you're getting some size on those now, hey?
I've got two of those. I put the biggest one in a 10-gallon so it would not go to heaven. You see yours; they're Jack and the Beanstalk sort of things. They go for it.
Yes.
And then I put the smaller one in the ground, and it's about twice the size of the bigger one now because I put it in the ground. So I've got two of them. I just started the trellising process. Chopped them a few times. I'm going to try to get some, square footage out of them. And then I have the Azad Kashmir Vietnamese three-way F2s that I'm running.
Nice.
So Damien sent me the F1s in the fall, and I want to say, when did I finish? March, maybe. I had the F2s made and the Killer A5 hybrid. So I've got three of the Azad Viet 3s going right now. I've got two females and a male. So I'm in love with this male. I've never had a really, really chirpy male before. I've been doing this a little while, and I've just never had a male that just was louder than the female sisters.
Wow.
Nice.
It's just this cherry cough drop with like these little subtle backgrounds. There's a little bit of lavender. There's a little bit of that pastry like you're talking about, but that it's like a Vicks cherry cough drop. There's a lot of that eucalyptus sort of what do you call it? Mentholation.
Yes.
And one of the sisters is very similar, but it has less of the cherry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very bushy one. But I have two of them that are almost the same. They're this taller Viet hybrid type with lots of internode space. And I'm just in love with this project. It's been a while since I've been in love with the project like this. And I have a lot less plants than I usually have. And these are probably going to seed.
Awesome.
Nice.
Love that.
What's that?
What's Ryan got cooking in his backyard?
What's up? Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I can
Oh, yeah.
hear you.
Audio issues. Okay. I'm having audio issues tonight. Anyways, no, everything's going good. I had a really late season. All the work I'm doing at the new farm, just cloning and timing didn't line up right. So I'm not home to take care of my clones. I'm having my old lady do that for me, and she's doing a wonderful job. But, it doesn't always line up perfect. So I didn't get my plants outside until like the first or second week of July. And they were still small, like 18-inch 2-footers. So I have some plants that are hitting 3 foot, 4 foot right now. They're kind of starting their stretch, a week into their stretch or so. And then I have the Volunteer, the Ravi Rose 88G13. She's fucking monstrous. So she's bigger than her mom was by time finished last year. So I've topped twice and completely laid out and stretched her through bamboo. I'm probably going to have to do it again. Yeah, so that'll be my weight this year is off that one fucking Volunteer plant. So I hope it's good. I've got, let's see, I got the Thai. She's probably my second biggest, the Kutbok Talo Squirrel Tail Thai from Zomia.
Awesome.
She's really nice, mango, citrusy, really, really like. I want to say loud, but that's the worst word. She's just very fragrant. Let's say that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And behind that, I've got my Project Monarch, one of my regulars that I've had for a long time. New cut that I got from a good friend, cereal milk. He's like, yeah, it's modern hype, but it actually still gets me high, so try it. And I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, throw that out in the garden. I've got some Roberts Creek Congo by Haze for Days from Mr. Toad. So is his F4 Haze for Days hit on the Roberts Creek Congo. I got a couple of those going. Those are looking to be really, really nice plants, and no surprise, everything from the Congo is great. And then Mr. Toad's work, obviously, there's no question there. So I'm really looking forward to that one. What else? There's Vicious Genetics. I got his Golden Widow, so that's a Malawi Gold by White Widow. That's probably the stinkiest plant. Like when we think stinky, funky, dank, like she's right in that category. Small but super thin leaf, really razor thin leaf, right on par with the Pashim Harmati, like super, super thin leaf. Really nice to see. I've smoked his Golden Widow before. He's had a couple different versions, so I've smoked his F1 and his F3. I prefer the F1. This is from the F1 stock. So we had a seed show in Arizona, and he just had some seedlings. They were regs. And he's at the end of the show, he still had a handful left. He's like, dude, please take some of these these seedlings. And I'm like, I'll take that one Golden Widow, dude. That was good. Yes. And she's lining up really well. So definitely shout out Tyson. Vicious Genetics. What else do I have? I've got the Aliens on Moonshine. I've talked about her plenty. She's the 2-to-1 type 2 CBD dominant. Just classic, good weed, amazing smoke. I love that plant, and great medicine. Really good hash. She does great for topicals. Good flower. Just all around amazing plant. The fuck else do I have? I feel like I have something else I'm missing. Oh, one of my Project Monarch F2s.
Nice.
I threw a little one of those out. So I had a couple. I popped some more seedlings just to look through them again, and all but one were male. I think I popped 6 or 8 of those. All of them were male. So I'm just like, hey, I just want to look at a couple ladies this year, and yeah. So I got the one girl outside. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to that Ravi Rose G13. So.
Yeah, at least it's going to be big. You're going to get lots to sample off of it.
Right.
She's throwing down. Yeah.
Love that. I'm excited.
I grew the cereal milk. I did a few indoor runs and outdoor run of cereal milk. It's pretty good. You know, it really dumps. You get some great prices from it.
Okay. I'm into that.
It's unique compared to some of the other cookie strains, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I got no hate on cookies, but I want unique. I got no hate on cookies, but I want unique.
I don't either. Yeah. There's a lot of great stuff. It's just I'm not going to do what everybody else is doing. You know, that's all it is.
Yep. If I ever want to find,
blue, I'm not going to be wearing blue. You know. Just,
if I want to find amazing cookie shit, it's out there. I can find it.
Out there. And there's everybody doing it, so you can go find it. You know.
Yep.
I grew Haze for Days also from Tony.
Yeah, did you grow as F4?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Haze for Days.
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
And I grew it by itself, not a hybrid. And that one has that root beer terp in it.
Ooh, interesting.
And it has, kind of like a soaring high. He says it was very Colombian dominant.
Okay.
But Yeah, that's some great stuff to go through. Tony's got some great gear.
Yes, he does.
Nice.
Yes.
I've got a pack of those in my fridge, the Haze for Days, but those are going to be a project for me because I know I'm going to have trouble growing those here. So it'll be a hybrid project. I'm pretty sure I'm going to pop them and they're going to catch pollen straight away. I don't know who yet, but I've seen pictures of Toad's Haze for Days. You know, he's done some shows before, and he showed some pictures of them outside his place, and they get massive.
Yeah. This was like, I don't know, almost 15, 20 feet or something, the one he grew back in 22, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, I believe, Flying Dutchman stock. Only a couple original Haze, you know, from the Dutch scene. There's the Flying Dutchman, there's the Positronic that Tom Hill has. And it seemed mainly Colombian dominant, but it did. I mean, I hadn't seen it at the time. I was unfamiliar with this kind of pearl sort of phenotypes, but it did these weird pearl spacings inside. And I was like, nah, bro, something's not right.
What is this?
I think back now, it was just doing that kind of pearl thing where it puts a big node in between each little
calyx.
Yeah. And I was just like, I was trying to breed it to cookies, you know, back in the day, and it was just like not wanting to do that. I also had the like really cheap pink LED lights. You remember those?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The blurples.
The blurple light.
Love the blurple.
Yeah, bro. It was
fry
just
your
like,
fucking eyes.
Tony's like, yeah, dude, I don't think those plants like that sort of light. And I'm like, I don't know. I really don't think they were freaking out. I think it was just that phenotypic expression that I was not used to seeing.
Sure.
I heard other people talk about it, and they're like, yeah, dude, I throw that shit away because they thought it was a mutant. It's not a mutant. It's just a certain type of phenotypic expression. You know, we're just unfamiliar with a lot of this stuff because it's not terribly commercial.
Yeah.
Not at all.
It gets pushed aside, and we don't really explore it and look at it as, you know, maybe we should be doing.
Yes.
Agreed.
And finishing it, like if you can see something like that, like and actually like see it and go, holy crap, like what the hell is this weird mutant? But then actually have the patience and like get it to the end, because if you could have picked off all those little calyxes every 24 inches or whatever that was, it probably would have been the best bull.
Well, I know now it would have been great. Yeah. Okay, I've grown these type of varieties, and the ones that do that are really good. You just have to be very, very patient, and you have to be willing to explore and do something you might not have seen before.
Yeah.
You know, it's a scary thing. You know, you want to be successful, and you want to get good medicine.
Yeah, and you want a big, heavy yield every time. Right?
But, you know, to find some of these new cool shit, you just got to try some different stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so that's funny. Like you guys talk about that. One of the growers that I've been like really trying to like follow is Budulero, and like the pearls.
Yeah,
dude, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
I would love to get my hands on one of those plants. Not necessarily just to smoke it, but just to grow it out, to see what it has to offer, and like I could care less about the yield. I want to see what it has to offer.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you got to get. You know, I was talking to Damien about this, and there's a big difference between the want to be commercially successful or commercially viable, and trying to look at this plant as an experiment or exploration. You know, where you're trying to discover something. Okay, if you're trying to discover something, you're going to have to do some things you hadn't seen before. If you're trying to be commercially viable, of course, you're going to do what you see other people were successful with.
Well, you have certain metrics that you have to abide by.
Yeah,
you have to. You can't escape it. It is part of what that whole industry exists for.
Yep.
But then these other things where that's not relative,
it's not even relevant.
Yeah.
You know, some of these other things. Look at what Budulero is doing. They're actually carving out.
They're still commercial.
Well, that's the thing.
You look at what Tom Hill's doing this year. He's running a full hoop house of Haze clones.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, this is commercial style long flowering cannabis, and it's not
that far off.
It's just based around the craft.
Well, I
That's
mean, the thing is right now there's not the value has not been added yet.
It
Like
hasn't been established.
talking about it in a business sense, the value hasn't been established yet. What we need as a community is to establish the value in that so that there's inherent value similar and equal to.
This is a whole thing, right? So like,
yes, it is.
okay, so we've been hunting for what we consider commercially viable for the past 20, 30 years.
Yep.
So, in essence, just because something flowers for 20 weeks doesn't make it good weed. Just because it's 26 weeks, 32 weeks, that doesn't make it that much better. It's not 4 times better weed
Yeah.
because it flowered 4 times longer. We still have to pheno hunt those varieties. But how much fucking longer is that going to take when a specific pheno takes 16,
Exactly.
18, 20, 22
And
plus
only
weeks?
one person in North America is doing it, you know, on a commercial.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
I think
And
we're
so,
at day
yeah,
one.
I believe so
we're
too.
we're at preconception.
Yeah.
We're we're in a mingle at a fucking party right now, and
Yeah, buddy.
maybe some babies might be happening that will inspire this new commercial market that we'll see in 30 years. But it's going to take a long time to mature. I mean, we still have people calling things indica sativa when they're
Yeah,
trying to describe effect, you know, and so it's just part of it, and it's okay, and there's nothing wrong with it. But the deeper you get into it, you recognize how much it blossoms into something bigger and bigger and bigger and expands into more and more.
And
Yeah.
So
the more of us that get involved with it, the better, right? Because if we're watching Tom Hill grow and Hayes clones like a whole entire dep, and we're seeing Bud Yularo grow and what he's growing, and then it excites us, and then it inspires you to try it out. Like the more people that are willing to grow based on inspiration and excitement and exploration, because I think that's what happened with me about 3 years ago. I started, maybe it was 4 years ago. I wasn't growing the long flowering sativas until two or 3 years ago. And so I was buying up seeds like 4 or 5 years ago, preparing for when the day that I'd be ready to experiment with 16, 17 week flowering times. And I wasn't a good enough grower yet. So the seeds were in the fridge, and I just slowly went up. I was, went up to 12-week strains. And then eventually I kind of figured out that I could feed them properly and get them to the end. And then I went, kind of dived in, and it was 14, 15 weeks. And then I still had to relearn that again. I had some really ugly plants, leaves falling off, 2 weeks before the end of flower, like no leaves left at all. But that inspired me. And then that grew. And then I wanted to explore. And now what I do is totally off from what anyone will tell you to do. Like anyone will say, grow that strain 3 or 4 times. And I'd love to do that. And I'll grow it 3 or 4 times over 7 or 8 years.
eventually,
Yeah, eventually. Yeah. But to be honest, I like kind of grow things twice. Most of the time, if it's something landrace or far out, the first grow is usually an increase to preserve the seeds. And you learn a little bit, but not much, because those seeds are done in 50 days after the 3rd week when it's pollinated. So you actually don't get to see what that plant does. And then the second time I grow it, I'll grow out the increase. And then you're learning, and I'll learn and I'll fail, and some will be okay, some won't. But typically I'll move on to another exploration, because I think the exploring and the showcasing things like we do on this show, I think it's important, even if I'm only getting a few jars of these cool varieties in my stash. But I think just to to move on and explore some more, and show people that exploration and inspiration growing can be really rewarding. That's what I get from it. I get rewarded from it by what I'm learning, and of course what I'm seeing, smelling, and tasting. But that's a whole nother thing. But I think if if people build on that, and if we can grow that type of community, then like you say, this day one, this pre where we're at, it'll blossom, and one day there will be some cultivation facilities running these longer flowering strains for us. Hopefully.
international Clear international markets is what it'll take. If I
That's
can
important,
buy
of course,
Burmese herb from a Burmese
from
farmer who's
Burma.
advertising on Instagram, and I look at his practices and he shows me or she shows me everything that they're doing at their farm, and I recognize and appreciate their values, I want to buy their herb. That's what will preserve it. That's what'll let it
Love
happen.
that.
I want it from its point of origin. It's cool
Yes.
to have the seeds. It's cool for me to grow Burmese weed in Arizona, but that doesn't make it Burmese.
Burmese weed.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just a Burmese type that is adapting to my climate. And
Mhm.
like you
Yep.
said, some variety. Good luck getting it to finish.
Yeah.
And so if we're not in the right spot, we're not in the right spot. You have to go indoor. And then that's radically different. Or you got a dep, and that's still radically different. So
Yeah.
I would love to buy, Cambodian and Afghan hash and all these other places from traditional farmers that just get to show me what they do, and we get to all talk about it. That would be the coolest fucking thing. Eventually
fucking cool.
people, we wouldn't have to make seeds anymore. We wouldn't have to preserve anything anymore.
Imagine
because
that.
they would all have their own reason and right to preserve in the place of origin.
They would have a
Yeah.
reason to preserve.
Yes.
Yep.
Training.
And to
Instead of-
support, giving money back to these farmers in these
Yes.
countries where really they're the ones that deserve to earn something out of this
Yes.
market, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's
Yep.
huge.
Yes. All the stuff that exists right now is just in phase. And at some point, it's going to phase out, and other things are going to phase into existence that will take its place, that are better, that are more, maybe not ethical, but just common sense. We hope ethical, and that'll only happen if we build it. But the way things are going, it kind of seems like it's just going to happen the way that it's
If you
going to
build it,
happen.
he will come.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I think the overarching thing is calming down, right? Schedule 3, some stuff's going to get reclassified. Yes, that's going to hand a whole bunch of genetic material to pharmaceutical companies.
Mhm.
Cool. They're going to do their thing. It's going to fucking suck for people that just want to appreciate the plant, because it's not going to be the plant. But cannabinoid-based medicines and pharmaceuticals, I'm down. I'm in.
It's
Yeah.
important.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'd much rather plant-based pharmaceutical cannabinoid medicine than synthetic cannabinoids, because synthetic cannabinoids are not a great thing. I think there might be some utility for them in extreme cases, but let's start with the plant first. It's been here a long time. We have a lot to learn from it. But then after that, once that gets accepted, that's all this is about, really, is acceptance.
It's another
We just need to get to the acceptance phase and let that permeate everything, because once acceptance happens, it just becomes part of life again, and we can kind of let hemp farmers grow hemp for whatever reason they want to, and not regulate it on some arbitrary 0.3%. If they want to grow the best fiber crop for hemp, it might be a 5% THC.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it might be the best. It could have fucking 48-inch internode space, and it grows fucking 6 inches around like fucking bamboo, but we won't know that if we're regulated to choose within a phenotype that is at 0.3% delta 9 or less.
Absolutely.
And so that's not what we should be hunting hemp for, right? If you want smokable hemp, non-psychoactive cannabinoids, high terpenes, other compounds. But this arbitrary definition is really, we got to get past that, and acceptance is the only thing that will, because then you'll have enough people with reason to grow the plant for different utility, and then they'll bleed through this stupid regulation of 0.3 and hemp and marijuana and blah blah. We can just okay, cannabis sativa, here's this botanical classification, what do you want to do with it? Oh, okay, we'll regulate that like this, and then that's it.
So one of the things, like, because I love history, right? And then one of the other things that I watch a lot about is history. Well, how much of our history was already tied up in this plant, and how
all of it.
How long ago? Well, it wasn't that long ago that they took the plant away from the world and said, "Oh, you're wrong, you're bad."
1930s. We're approaching 100
there
years.
was a financial reason for them to take the plant from the world. Now there is a financial incentive for them to give the plant back to us. So just fucking give it back to us. I mean, pardon my French, But like now that there's a financial incentive for you to give it back to the world. That's what I say.
That's
Because then
what's never
I
made sense
can
to me.
grow the true land race from there. Like, yes,
Mhm.
I'm growing their cultivated strain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That'd be great to get their seeds. Like as me as a pheno hunter, yes, I would love to pheno
I
hunt
want
through
to.
your cultivated strain in your area, knowing it's
Absolutely.
yours.
Seeing
I
the
don't
real
want to
expression.
have to guess. Was it the homie in that one house, in that one area that got this, or was it the other homie in that valley that got that one cut, or was it the homie that crossed those two? Like who actually had to? I don't want to do that. I want to know where I'm getting my stuff from. That's why I buy packs. That's why people buy packs of seeds. They
Yeah.
think they know where they're getting their stuff from, and you
Yeah.
don't right now.
Yes,
Yep.
it needs to be so open source, right? Like once we get, like you say, follow the road, follow this yellow brick road that they're building, and eventually, there should be hope. We need to be optimistic and positive, but realistically, it's got to be so legal and open source globally so that you can buy your Mama Samchai Thai seeds from the farmer, and so that you don't have to wonder what happened in between, how many increases on the preservation were done, and in what environment, right?
No. And you
That's
don't
Yeah.
have to worry about the people that you care about being fucking persecuted for continuing and following their craft. Like
sure.
they're like, take for instance India, right? So it's entirely illegal until some very recent changes. There's some medical movement, yada yada,
Mm-hmm.
legislature, government, but it's entirely illegal across the whole country. It's illegal to smoke in whole states. So like what we would call Alabama, you couldn't smoke there anything. You can't smoke betel leaf, you can't smoke cannabis, you can't smoke tobacco, you can't smoke lavender flowers if you want to. You're not allowed to smoke anything by law. But it's tolerated because it is so deeply ingrained in the culture. The people have such a deep utility and connection to the plant that the law doesn't really fucking matter as long as you're not getting out of hand. If you're going about your day and you're not causing a disturbance and you're not being belligerent and disrespectful about it to where you're smoking in people's faces and you're like, oh, check it out, I get to smoke, fuck you guys. Like, if you're not being like that, then everything's cool. And so, like, again, we were in Grahan sitting at a cafe. 30 fucking cops walk by and we're sitting there smoking spliffs, eating our breakfast, drinking our chai.
Nice.
Namaste, we wave, we say hello. They go on about their business because they've got more important fucking things to deal with there. They were looking for a missing person. So it's just the reality of the situation that once acceptance is there, once you recognize that, nope, this can be part of life, and then we can do all sorts of different things with it, it's stigma. That's the whole thing. Yes, it was financial back then, but it was social stigma is what drove
Mm-hmm.
it through, and what has allowed the financial encapsulation to not include cannabis and to isolate it and excise it from industry. It was prejudice. It was what people thought about other people because they were not informed, because they didn't know those people, because they didn't go see what their life was like and just recognize that people are people and we want to eat good food and make sure our families are safe and have a purpose in life. And that's kind of just about it. And this plant gives a lot of people around the world that if they don't have to look for helicopters and people with machine guns and fucking cops and shit to go lock them in a cage over it.
100%.
So it's the acceptance. It's the breakdown of the stigma that has to happen first. Number
Yes.
one.
And you know what?
Yes.
I'm just going to touch on that too, Ryan. What you said, it just kind of clicked as well. So these countries where it's ingrained in culture, there's so much history behind it. It may be illegal in some areas, but it's still tolerated. And, they're not looking for someone smoking a spliff to arrest. So these are also the countries where, to me, it looks like the genetics are less adulterated because it's prohibition that creates people going underground and growing one clone for 30 years and sharing and then bottlenecking everything. But in India, and in Thailand, places like that, where it was still maybe illegal, but it was part of the culture, deeply
Part of the
ingrained
culture.
and accepted. So the farmers kept growing those heirloom genetics.
Yep.
And sure, things change over time, but realistically, they didn't bottleneck what they had because they could
Yep.
just carry it on. And I'm just going to mention on the comments, Noel Raffi questioned something about the Aduki gold. So that's Indian genetics. That's South Kerala, the Aduki gold. And I think he was asking something about, sourcing, something like that. And I might as well, I'm just going to throw it out there on the show. I've been chatting with this fella, Satori Seeds. So you can check him out. He's online. He's got landrace varieties. So I've been chatting with that fella over the last week when I was away. And I actually have some Aduki gold coming to me. I put in an order. So I know everyone's been putting maybe an order seeds in somewhere here or there, thinking about what might happen down the road. But I picked up a few varieties. I got an Egyptian heirloom.
Oh, wow.
I got a Nigerian heirloom. And then I got some Senegalese crossed with Egyptian and Nigerian, and then 2 packs of the Aduki gold. Now I had to do it for this. We've chatted about it before. Zomia knows a lot about the varieties out in India, and a lot of people will comment about that one. And whether or not that, the provenance, I was chatting with him. He's been around for, 15 years with some of these varieties. And I think he's had the Aduki for, I think he said to me that he had it maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And sure, it may be it may be a variety that's from the area, but it is possible, I suppose, to source and find some of these genetics that, some people are wondering about, the legendary or the mythical varieties, but some of them are out there. Some of them just have to be researched a bit or find the right people. But I'll grow them next year. I'll put them out in my garden and we'll see what they look like. I'll do an increase and we'll make sure that we get some seeds out to the people. I like to share. I want everyone else to experience the things I've experienced. Also the sharing, the open source that I love. I think that we should all kind of join in that. I see a small community building. FCP is a beautiful community that's being built. People are sharing, and Peter, I know, gives seeds out to all sorts of people. There's people giving out seeds to war veterans, and this is the community that needs to get built. We're at the beginning of starting a new age of cannabis where we shouldn't be hoarding. I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm going to get the Aduki gold. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to sell packs. I'm not going to sell packs. I'm going to increase it, and I'm going to share those seeds with people so that we can see together and grow together. And sure, I'm going to grow them here, and it may not be the Aduki gold grown in northern Canada. Well, it's not northern Canada, but grown in Canada. But I'm still going to grow them out, and I'm going to learn something from it, and it's going to feed me inspirationally, and just to kind of put the story to the variety and see what comes out is very exciting. So, you're from Kerala, no, Rafa. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I'd love to know what it's like for everyone who's in these countries that have these amazing varieties. Like what are you smoking nowadays? Is there a Aduki gold there now, or is it a mythical variety from the past? How has things changed in India for smokers in the last 20 years? Because maybe there's more to it than I think. I think that things have stayed the same, but that's just me with my utopic vision of, landrace varieties.
One of the reasons why I started to grow out landrace strains, like the main reason is because I wanted to see what they looked like.
Yeah.
I want to see what a landrace strain looked like. And then with now the age of all of the digital technology we've got access to across the world, and now that the world has access to it and can show their shit, it's like, okay, well, so it is a very similar plant, Now, why are you selecting? Now, for me, okay, I've got the where and the who, but now it's for me, it's the why. Like, why are you growing those specific strains? Why are you choosing that? Those things are interesting to me, and then understanding that, okay, now I know it's in my environment, it's going to change, but why did it change in my environment? So now I'm on to the whys of things. I've understood the who's and the how, the where's. Now it's the whys for me. That's what's drawn me to the landrace strains. And so knowing that I've got a community now that's with that, like I've got all of my F1s together now, and I've been begging my wife. I'm like, I've got to get some money together. We're gonna get some money together just so I can start sending everything to the guys, because I don't sell my seeds. I've always given away my shit, and like there's certain people I'll give them to, and certain people I won't. Because I don't think they deserve them.
Sure.
But I don't want to hoard them anymore. I just want to give them to people that appreciate them. And that's exactly like you say, this is the community to start doing that. And that's
absolutely.
That's awesome.
One of the cool things about Peter, he's kind of at the center of the web, and he can just disseminate all this stuff. I can't tell you how many strains he sent me with my orders. I just, when I wanted to share some seeds, I figured I'd share them with Peter, and he would share them for me.
Yeah.
And a lot more people are getting them than if I would have sent them to them.
Exactly.
Yep.
And these are also, this is important, especially with some of the landrace and longer flowering, because if we're sharing and giving them away through whoever they're coming and going through, but if people are receiving these seeds who may not have thought about growing them, now that they were free, that's totally different. So they might not have wanted to pay the crazy $150 a pack to grow something that they might not kill it. Like they might not have an awesome grow. So they're afraid to buy that. But give it to somebody, because Peter gave me the Burmese that I grow. I've had it that was my longest. That was my first long flowering variety. It's a 17 weeker. I've been growing that thing for about 4 years now. Right when I met Peter, he sent that to me straight away. And that was the beginning of my journey, was Peter sharing a pack of seeds with me, man. And not only
a fucking G, man.
It's my best medicine as well. Like, what's the coincidence there? It's my favorite variety.
I think there's something to that. There's some medicine.
It's a connection.
Sharing is a medicine. It's the same with our dialogue, and when we learn something about the plant and we talk about it, that's a medicine. Yeah, it's not just consuming the plant.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's well, the funny thing too, I watch a lot of the different podcasts too. Like especially now, I've been going and watching a lot of different ones now too. And there's so many. Like I get it for some podcasters and for some breeders or growers or sellers, there is an aspect of sell. Let's get what you can, and I get that. I'm a business major.
That's what they do for a living.
That's what I got my degree in. I got my degree in business administration and human resource management. Like that's what I did to get my education in. And so I understand that that's okay for you, but there is a whole group of us. Like Peter was saying, there was one of his, one of the I think it's Friday, one of the breeders shows that he had, that he was talking about with Jeff, where maybe they offer a lot more seeds at a lower price so more people can get into it. And I think now that everything's been pushed back legally, like it's been pushed back, we got more time, so get on it, like let's get on it kind of stuff. And maybe they'll see again, maybe the door is open and we can all flood through it so much that it'll stay open.
Sure.
I think so. I think part of the problem is when you're doing this for a commercial reason, you have to cover your nut. You have to make your money back. You can't take a loss. So there's a lot of incentive maybe not to be 100% honest. if you're doing this for educational reasons, or if you're an academic, you have less reason to lie or deceive people. So the chances are that the information is more viable. Yeah. Now you can tell people if they're kind of bullshitting you or not. But right there, if somebody does this for a living, they have a reason to lie to you. I'm not saying they will, but they have a reason. Just the same with an academic. He could lie to you too. He may have an egotistical reason, but there's less of a chance for him to have a reason to lie to you. It's, that's one of the reasons I really enjoy my correspondence with the gentleman from Kelowna. He's he does this very much for educational purposes, and he shares what he's learning. And so when I get information from him, I'm pretty safe in assuming he's telling me the truth. 100%. In a world of hustlers, most of the time they're not telling you the truth. And they will tell you this if you watch these podcasts. They'll tell you, I do whatever I got to do to make that sale. You looking for this? I'll tell you, I got that. And as long as it's fire, you're not going to argue with me. And that's a lot of the marijuana sales industry is that. I mean, I went to a cookie store years ago, and I want to get some Sunset Sherbet. And they had Sherbinsky's brand Sunset Sherbet, which I knew would be that genetic. And the bud tender talked me out of buying that because it was grown outdoor and it had turned brown. And it's not so good. Here's this other Sunset Sherbet grown by this other brand that is fire. It's indoor, it's great, blah, blah, blah. And it was beautiful bud. And I wish I didn't listen to him because I knew what I wanted. But I listened to him and I bought what he suggested. And it was not Sunset Sherbet. It was a completely different strain. Now, this is part of the problem. You're getting all these, I won't call them fake strains, but you're getting all this misinformation based around commerce. This sells. I'm going to come up with that. And a lot of these people, like these modern breeders, they think they have these strains. Okay. I swear they have Sunset Sherbet. They don't have it. They don't have these strains. These original cookie strains were extremely coveted when they came out. There's a reason that stuff made such a wave. And it was like 3 or 4 people growing it in the Bay Area. There wasn't much of it. I got some of these and I got to taste them. They were really fucking good. Yeah. And the stuff that's coming out is not of that level, especially the stuff coming from cookies. You can only produce the top tier. You can only produce so much of that. You can't have 17 strains that are the fucking best strain in the world.
That's right. That's right.
It's not a viable business practice. So if you're new to this, that's going to you're going to get swept up in the hype, and you'll want to buy this stuff because it sounds so great. The problem is most of it isn't that the real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The name game makes it rough.
Don't believe the hype.
Yeah, don't believe the hype. I mean,
if you're willing to grow it out at a cheap cost, if it was dirt cheap to get it, sure, grow it out, find out what it's made of. But be careful where you're putting your butt.
That's the other thing with these. I've grown out a lot of these, and they don't breed so well. Okay, the model that was based on this is this pheno hunt where you get a clone that's so good. Well, that was a one-off, bro. That line is not a great line. That one clone is a great clone. The line is a terrible line. And this is with so many of these strains. And then you're inbreeding them, and you're inbreeding bad on top of bad, and pretty soon it's just flat.
Yes.
I tried a Chem 91 S1 last year, and I've never had real Chem, because the clone is just not available. And if it is, it's probably not the right one. But anyway, so I was like, what's real 91 like? And, a fella had some Chem 91 S1s seedlings, and he filled his tent, couldn't keep the other 2 or 3 that he had. So I went for a drive up, an hour and a half away to pick up these seedlings, grew them out, 3 of them, finished them. And they had these, they were beautiful, resinous, rock hard nugs. But it didn't really do much for me. And I'm sure I'm not knocking, I believe that the 91 is fire, man. But the S1s were not the 91. They weren't. They were family members.
Not the plant.
Yeah, that was not that plant, because I would have felt a little bit of magic but the magic wasn't there, and it was just weed. I was like, wasn't that
The
great.
magic is in the phenotype unless somebody's done a whole lot of fucking work and made a very solid line.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. What we consider elites, those elite cuts, those things that just smack the living shit out of you, they're freaks.
Yeah.
They're mutants.
They're sports.
They're
100% they're sports. They're mutations.
not. Yes, they're not the normal. They're not the typical. It's not
That's why
common.
they call them unicorns nowadays.
Yes, it's
Because they're
not.
practically
Yeah.
mythological. And if you're using some sort of like rational breeding theory to get there, you're not going to get there unless you're growing out like 1,500 plants at a time, which they are doing. To the credit of some of these commercial companies, they are doing that sort of stuff. They are breeding big time.
Yes.
But
big pheno.
I really don't think they know how limited that frequency is that they're just stuck on.
Yes.
They don't know how much else is out there. It's like anything. If you don't know, you don't know.
They're stuck on one of the main. They're stuck on one of the main branches of a really, really big tree.
Just biomass and THC. That's what they're stuck on.
It works.
Yeah.
It gives you validation. Okay. Part of the pot game used to be, check out this shit. It's so cool. And your friends are like, oh my God, that's awesome. Okay. Yep. You get this validation. Oh yeah, I shared this stuff. I'm cool. No, the weed.
Yeah, you're all sitting in a circle, fucking just stony-eyed and glazed, and you're all like, "Fuck, that was good weed. I'm stoned."
Well,
like,
a lot of people
that's how you got justification.
That validation. I got, whatever. I got Gary Payton. You know, everybody's talking about how great it is. It's great. I got it. So I must be. I get that greatness from it.
Yeah,
but there's 30 different companies telling Gary Payton.
Who cares about you personally? If you deliver them the bag, they love the bag. They're not going to love you more. And so a lot of people get kind of wrapped up in like validating themselves. Oh, I'm growing this. I got this. And you expect this sort of attention because you see these other guys who buy lots and likes. They're getting all this attention from their shit. A young 16-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid, he doesn't know that the guy bought all those reviews and that the reason this is such a popular strain is because they paid to play. So much of this is pay to play.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of
the hard
elite...
to be objective about these strains. Some of them are great, but you really got to see for yourself.
Yeah.
If you saw it for yourself, you know firsthand. Be careful about taking secondhand information. That's all.
Yep. And a lot of these elite cuts, what we consider just some of the highest echelon of smokable weed, they're not like high yielders. They're not like massive fucking plants. They throw down in the smoke because they're a freak. And sometimes they're small plants that veg slow and fucking don't yield a lot. But
the funny thing is like the Zittles. Zittles is a perfect example of that. Like Zittles, the real plant is fucking delicious, but the plant itself, it's fucking
one of the worst.
Ugly.
It's slow. It's floppy. It can't hold up its own leaves, let alone its own branches or bud. It just but it's amazing. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's delicious
in the flavor. But it also doesn't get me high. So
the whole
why go through all that struggle of growing it if the reason I smoke weed is to get high and feel a certain way? If I want to taste some Skittles, I'll go eat a fucking bag of Skittles after I smoke killer weed that made me feel good. Like, I'm sorry, it's just, and it could taste like dog shit covered in burnt hair, sprayed in hairspray. Like, it could taste bad, being that it's not my flavor profile, but if the high is correct,
boom,
I'm there.
That's
what I'm there for.
So that's like the reason why I chose the Pheno Hunter was a plant just like that. That I was like, okay, why am I doing this? Like, this was 10 years ago when I was like, well, why am I doing this? I'm doing it just to grow for me because there's no money. Like, let's all be honest. From the home grow, there's very little monetary value in actually growing your home grow out.
It's what I'm saving and not having to go buy weed.
Exactly.
Disappointed in it.
Exactly. So for me, I'm going to grow for myself and I'm going to grow these specific things, right? So I'm going to choose how I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna start choosing phenos, and I started out breeders. I started going into the chats. This was like 15 years ago is when I really started in Colorado, and we actually started going through stuff and going into the overgrow, the icy mag, and those things, and seeing who was actually selling the seeds and doing things like that. And like now you don't get that nowadays. Like you don't get the importance of I don't know where I'm trying to go with that, but like I guess it's just a passion.
It's
For
just the
me,
evolution of the market. The people that
Yeah.
are really like out there and pushing on Instagram and fucking just trying to be super popular, like I don't, how much do they smoke? Do they need to
Sure.
smoke, or do they
Sure.
just smoke a couple times a week hanging out with their friends? So like pretty much
Mhm.
anything hits them. That's cool. I have no hate on that at all. If that's the way you consume cannabis, if that's your relationship, mine isn't. Mine
Yeah.
is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, sometimes in between with a midnight snack, and sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night too. Like it's just it depends on how I feel throughout the day. It's just my relationship. If I could, I'd be smoking while I'm working. Like
Yes.
just
Oh,
all the fucking time.
well,
Like
so
I've had
here's
a
one of
job
the
like
things
that. Like it's
for
just
me. I have a really hard time finding a job. It's one of the reasons why, like, me and my wife have just decided because she's making enough for me to stay home. I'll just be a stay-at-home dad. Like, we have
fucking
4
cool, dude.
kids, 3 in
Yeah.
school, 1 at home all the time. It's just and it's a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yes, it is.
Like,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
versus
and so
daycare and all that other shit.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I have a debilitating back problem that makes it so it's very hard for me to work. And so my doctor's like, if you got on these pills, right, like
Hmm.
you could take a pill and go to work, like, and,
Yeah.
and the pain would go away. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I was a heroin addict. I was a heroin and meth addict for 15 years. Like, do you really think the smartest thing for me to do is sit there taking a pill? Like, really, do you think that's really smart for me to do?
Well, what happens when you do take that pill and you do get functional, and then out of nowhere, because you're managing life, the doctor just yanks the script from you,
No.
and then you're
Exactly.
back in excruciating pain, and you
Yep.
can't function, and then what do you reach out for?
And he's got a family.
Or no joke,
Yeah,
the cost of
absolutely.
the pill alone
Yeah,
is too
That's
high.
a
Like,
that's a perfect reason. Like I love the way you said it, Ryan, like your relationship with it. So I think that's what we should all be searching for is how we relate to cannabis for
yes,
ourselves, not for
yes,
fame or for money or to be following what someone else is smoking, because
yep,
that really is the honest reason why I grow so many varieties. It's not to show them all off, like, hey, I'm growing more plants than my neighbor. It has nothing to do with that. I actually ferment half the plants I grow and turn them into FPJs and just feed them back to my plants.
plus or
That's
minus chicken food. Yeah,
that's the reality. Like, but I'm trying to find my breakfast strain, my
yep,
super clear, so I can get out the door and not be, wasted, but I feel great about myself. And then your lunchtime and your dinner. So I think it's do it for yourself.
hmm,
Grow all the different varieties with the stupid names, because don't buy it because you think it's going to taste like banana, or it might, but I think
sure,
it's grow them all. Grow them all. The
yeah.
ones that someone says smells like dog shit, banana, grow them all and try as many as you can to find out what your variety is and build your
Mhm.
relationship with the plant.
Yep.
how long can the name game keep up? Like, for real?
Yeah, because
You
it's
I
know?
done,
hope it's
right?
fizzling, dude.
Yeah.
How
I
Yeah.
long
hope it's
can the name
fizzling.
game really keep up? Like, at this point, like,
No, it's
a
happening.
watermelon is a watermelon, but like if you get a specific watermelon from a specific farm that has a specific flavor to it, then you're gonna hunt that watermelon at
That's
that
what you're
farm,
looking for. Yes.
you
Yes.
know? And that's what I'm trying to do is I want to know what your farm I know a farm I love to go to here in Nevada County. High Hill is a great farm I love to go to here in Nevada County, and that's where I would love to go get my cannabis from. But can we do that right now? We cannot do that.
No
So
farm.
what's the
Right.
closest thing I can do to that is go to some dispensary where someone else is making money off of that farmer. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Not
I'd
their
rather
terms necessarily. Yeah.
if I can go to a farmer's market or I can go to a farm and they have their own farm stand, why can't I go to that farm and go to their farm stand?
I know.
Yep.
And then
That's
the
thing
name
too.
game is over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then it's just what it is. The
Yes.
lineage is all. There's no name. You don't need the name. And if they want, they can call it, name it after their farm. But they're still going to put the lineage on. That's not what's selling it. It's not the name that's selling it. It's the farm selling it, right?
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
Well, there's
That's
nothing
great.
that'll kill brand loyalty than going to buy a bag and you know what you're looking for, and it's not in the fucking bag.
Yeah.
So that'll sort itself out soon enough. Once it just takes education, it just takes enough consumption of the plant, hunting what you like, searching through the menus, finding the things that you vibe with, and then looking for them again. That's the thing is, do your products grab your audience twice or more? If you're just a once off, that flash in the pan, you won't make it through all of this.
No,
You might
Yeah.
you might make it 5 years, you might make it 8 years or 10 years. You'll make some money, but then you'll fizzle out. And you'll be forgotten and you'll get stepped on, and then bigger giants will build on your foundation of shit. And so what would be the point? And that's the thing. You're either in it to short game it and just gain as much as you can while you can. And that's the way the world works. Cool. I'm not surprised. None of us should be surprised that's the thing that blows my. Everybody's upset with the way the cannabis industry is going, and it's like, why? Look at chocolate. Look at fucking bottled water. Look at any other commodity. We've turned something that people have valued as life-saving, as spiritual, as cultural enrichment, as just part of everyday life, and as a money cushion. Being in the black market, willing to take the risks and fucking grow a quality product and having a customer base and all those things. We've taken it. It's pure commodity, and it's going to continue this process. I promise it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at the industry as any sort of example or model to go off of, that's for the masses. It's for the uneducated masses, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. We should just be hopefully doing the regulations right, where people aren't getting toxic product. That's the one thing I really hope for. But if you're really in it for like a medical purpose, you're claiming to be a medical dispensary, and then you're playing the name game on the hype shit. That's clown shoes.
Sure.
It's.
I mean, that's one of the things. Like, I am a medical patient. I use it for medical reasons. So
that's why I grow mine.
I don't really like to go to these. When I go to the dispensary and I'm like, I don't care about the flower. I don't care about the flower. I'm going for concentrates specifically, and specific concentrates from specific vendors that I know.
Right.
And so
that's hard.
And the reason why is because I know how they're producing it. Like, I can go to some farms and I know generally what a couple of those dispensaries are selling from those farms. And now that I've been up in Nevada County, and I've been to some of those farms and been able to go, spend time with some of those farmers and know where they sell their product. Yes, I will go to some of those dispensaries up there, like, the spots that are up there, and I'll grab their stuff because I know what they're doing. If I have a desire for something that I don't have, and I think that is a good thing for the broader society. That's a good thing for them, for everybody to be able to get what they want. That's a good product. But like you said, Ryan, regulation is kind of important, and it sucks that it has to be there. But
no, the only thing I want to see regulation on is quality control.
Yeah.
It should be on mold, mycotoxins, bacterial toxins, and just that's it. If you're trying to regulate this plant from a chemical perspective, or from a cultivation perspective, or a square foot, or a canopy, or a plant count, it's all fucking nonsense. Just stop. Yeah. It's a plant. regulate the producer for the product that they're trying to produce. So if they're trying to produce a medical product, that should meet medical grade standards, right?
I
Yeah.
would
And then
assume.
if
Go
you would
ahead.
assume, right? No, you're good. But like if you're producing a commodity product that's an alternative, because we have sanctioned drugs. Every civilization has sanctioned drugs. I don't care.
Yep.
It's tea, it's coffee, it's cannabis, it's coca plants, it's opium. It's I don't care. It's sugar. Every culture has sanctioned drugs, and so for a majority of the world, I would say we're an alcohol culture. We have beer, we have whiskey,
Mhm.
we have
Yep.
wine. That's
As a
that's the
majority.
dominant culture. Well, cannabis is in this unique space where it's in a juxtaposition to alcohol, to where people who enjoy alcohol typically they can enjoy cannabis as well, or it's the alternative to alcohol because alcohol is no longer permissible in their lifestyle due to health, due to a myriad of other things. And so cannabis is the accepted one. But then you have the social stigma that's the opposition to that. Or you
Mhm.
have the piss tests, the drug testing. You can't have a CDL. You can't operate a commercial vehicle if you consume cannabis on a Friday evening after you're done with your shift to relax your body and get a little bit of fucking medicine in you. I don't care if it's high THC, like someone just said, it's all fucking medicine.
Mhm.
If
Yep.
that is the way that you relax, that is medicine. Relaxing, decompression as a human being, putting down the stresses of life and just being yourself at home, that's medicine in itself. And so for many people, cannabis is becoming that or has been that for a long time, but the social stigma is still there. So
Mhm.
we have to, it's an evolution of the process. And we'll get there. We'll get there.
We
Yeah.
will. Just
But
takes time.
the name game hopefully is bleeding through the whole medical facade. And that's it. I get it. The medicine side was a boot in the door to allow the industry in. Now we're
Yep.
operating in the billions of dollars. No shit. They talked about it being a fucking $1 billion crop, what, back in the fucking 20s? Like,
Yeah.
like, and we're only talking drug right now. We're a
Yep.
multi-billion-dollar industry,
Drug
and it's
industry.
only drug.
Yeah.
What if we get into health
And
food and fiber and construction materials and insulation and soil remediation and all these livestock
so
feed?
much.
What if your organic grass-fed beef was grass-fed? What if it was
Right?
grass-fed,
Yes.
cannabis
Yeah.
seed-fed, cannabis
Eating
Fed a
medicine.
an
resin-fed?
antimicrobial plant or an
And so wait
Yes.
till it becomes that level of industry. And so everybody who's pissed about it now, grow your own.
That's
And
right.
that's what
Yeah.
we've been preaching for a long time.
Let's
Pop
overgrow.
some fucking seeds, fight your local government,
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
where it has to start. Don't go to the national level. Start with your county within your state and start there. If you're still in prohibition, I genuinely feel for you. I understand. I met people who have
For
been
sure.
completely locked away. Like they have to live in the black. Period. They don't fucking talk to anybody. The internet has opened it up a little bit, but you still can't be transparent if you're in prohibition. And that's
Yeah.
horrible. That's fucking horrible. But if you are complaining about the industry, you need to recognize your privilege because you have a fucking Circle K that you can go to on every corner that has weed in it. That's a dispensary. That's all it is. It's just so
Most people
realize that
complaining
that's a
about the industry are
convenience store.
complaining they're not making enough money.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because they're
Complaining
used to
about the weed they
$7,000
get at the
packs.
dispensaries, they go grow their own weed if they don't like that. So people
That's
are
right.
complaining about the industry are complaining they don't get enough money from the industry. And it's a rough one, man.
It sucks, but it's going to
path.
exist.
This was not something people did to make money
That's
traditionally.
right. That's
Throughout
right.
the 10,000
It's part of
years
life.
it has been cultivated. It was for spiritual journeys and for religious people. It
It's a
was
way
not
of life.
for commerce.
That's right.
It's a way of life.
It kept you fed in the wintertime. When shit got
Yeah.
harsh,
Kept
you
your whole
had
family
seed.
fed. Kept all
You
your
had
animals fed.
seeds.
You could feed your sheep or your goats or whatever
Yep.
off of the leaf and the seed. Like it was a way of sustenance, and it was deeply intertwined to just being a human being. And now we have this whole lifestyle where like being alive and part of nature is segregated from have a job, provide, fucking make enough money, fit in, buy the things, have the stuff. Like it's all nonsense. That's not what this plant was about. But I
No.
promise it's gonna get swooped into all of that because that's part of
There's a
our
reason
whole
the medicine
global
isn't
culture.
working right. Okay, when you go buy this stuff from the dispensary and it's produced, mass produced, the cheapest way it can be produced, it's no surprise this is not high quality stuff.
That's
Nope.
right.
Even the highest quality stuff at the dispensary, where you want to go spend $50, $60 an eighth, it's produced by a soulless machine.
Yeah.
There's no spirit to it. Even the best shit, it's a show dog, and it's beautiful, and it'll taste good for 10 to 20 minutes. Okay,
Yep.
and they lift you up. It's a show
Yep.
dog. It's not a utility.
Well,
Yeah.
well. Now, we can't make a blanket statement about
Not always.
I agree. I'm
Not
being
always.
very
dispensaries.
biased here.
So
No.
I
There
want
are
to make
people doing it
sure
right. Yeah.
there are
This is what I
are
do.
places out there that are doing it right. Like
course there
let's,
It's just very rare.
but it
Yes.
is rare.
Well,
And what
I
think
give
what
Budgelero
we're saying
a
is
good example of somebody that's doing it right. Somebody like
yeah,
Budgelero.
or Jay Nectar.
They're making their own rules.
Yep.
They're carving their own
Yeah.
path in the market. So I don't think monetization is the problem
No.
necessarily.
It's
No, people should be able to make money. They should be able to do.
money.
yes.
You make a living. It's
Yes.
a wonderful thing.
But definitely
ethical.
take it into your own hands and go home and grow a plant. Like
Yes.
make
Yes.
sure that you're doing that and push
Hey.
someone else in your family. Give your aunt or your grandma some seeds. You plant them in their garden for them. Seriously, because they're beautiful plants just to look at. Like that's
You know
getting
why
over
I can
stigma, right?
hold on real quick. I've got to mention this. You know why I can eat some lettuce or some cilantro right now? Is
you grew it?
because either I
Or you
grew
know
it,
the farmer?
a neighbor grew it, or I know the
Right.
farmer who grew it.
Yes. Yes.
That's the
Yes.
jalapenos I'm eating right now. I don't fucking got to worry about that. I'm not going there. They're in my backyard. And my
Yeah.
tomatoes, they're
Yes.
coming from my backyard. My zucchinis coming from a neighbor. Like
If you can't grow yourself, if you
you're
can't-
gonna
if you
fall
don't have
victim
the
to
time,
the system.
yeah, but if you don't have the time, if you don't have the capability, or just whatever the reason is, there are handicapped people, but meet your farmer.
Mhm.
Yes.
Go find somebody that is close to you. If you are fortunate enough to have a caregiver program, there are amazing people that are willing to grow you high quality cannabis. You got to do a little bit of work. You got to meet them halfway, but go
Mhm.
find your farmer. Because I
Yeah.
promise there are farmers that would be ecstatic to get $20 to $30 an eighth and have none of the bullshit overhead and none of the stuff to deal with.
Absolutely.
No middleman, no
Absolutely.
distro, no shelf, but they get to meet you. That's what they want. That's why farmers grow pot and commercialize it, because
Yeah.
they want to know that their customer is satisfied with the quality of their product.
Yeah. They care about
Yeah.
it.
That's a farmer, but I mean a farmer, not somebody who's running a cultivation site. I mean a farmer, somebody who's dedicated to the craft, maybe somebody who's bred some of their own beans, maybe somebody who's recognized the work of another breeder and is showcasing that breeder. And so they don't need to breed the beans. They found somebody
Yeah.
else who's doing the work, and they're like, I'm just going to grow it because I know I'm going to have no issue. And so that's the collab. That's the effort. That's the community. You don't have to be a one-man show. In my little tiny town, I have to grow my own. I got to make my own hash.
Mhm.
I got to do my things because I'm me and I have my specific needs and desires. And I found a lot of people that seem to like and appreciate the things that I do and share. When I share, they like the quality, they like the effect. So that's why I'm sharing it a little further. So it's just is what it is. Where you're at matters. Your community matters.
Yeah.
But it'll only
Community
get bigger
matters.
if you build it. If you
Yes.
do the work, if you find it, start growing yourself, learn how hard it is to grow a quality cannabis plant from seed to finish and have
For everybody
smokable
that
weed in the
smokes
jar.
to grow.
Yeah.
That's
Not
true.
everybody that smokes is going to grow. It's
No.
not even 10%
Yeah.
growers.
Yeah.
A lot of people consume this, and they do need to get it from someplace.
Mm-hmm. And some people don't have the time. Life's busy. I mean,
Just- All
Yeah.
sorts of hurdles.
right? We all got a
It's
job
very
to do.
difficult as well.
Yeah,
Very
difficult as well.
There's no guarantees you're going to get your product.
No.
These people that do this
Yeah.
professionally are to be respected. I just think they should have more of a responsibility to
Agreed.
keep the quality up here. And you know, you don't always need to raise your profits every year. There's
That's
nothing
right.
wrong with being consistent and maintained.
Yes,
Don't have
especially
to
with
That's more important.
medicine.
It is more
Medicine
important.
needs to be
That is more important.
It is more important
Consistency
in any
again
business
and
to
again and
maintain.
again.
Yep.
That's right.
Yes.
Great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
But,
I
yeah.
mean, if we're talking a lot about
We're talking
medicine,
about
and
sustainability.
it's gotta, in a way, I mean, I'm not gonna knock salt grown cannabis, because I've seen people knock it out of the park, and I've smoked it, and you know, my homie who passes me his buds, they're amazing. But I mean, maybe half the market should be like organic living soil. I mean, just to keep some kind of standard for some people who
Just
believe
balance.
that. Yeah. So if I
Just
want
balance.
my medical cannabis to be sun-grown living soil, I can buy that. And, you know, and then my neighbor who wants the super potent, you know, salt-grown Chem 91 that blows his brains, like he loves that stuff. That's cool. But we should have options, right?
Yep.
Options are important, rather than, like you say, if they keep dropping the bottom line so that, you know, they earn a little bit more every year, then the options are going to disappear.
Yeah.
And then it's one
So,
lane.
One
Right.
thing that gets me, this, you're not going to hear this very often, okay? Because not a lot of people are excited about this. But one of the things that gets me excited about Schedule 3 is the fact that there are research facilities that can actually start to research this plant, okay?
Yes.
So for me, one of the things I know for a fact, now do I have the paper and numerical research to back up what I know? No. And so many of these other growers are the same way. But is there a difference between salt-grown weed and organically grown weed?
Organics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Technically.
You know?
Yeah.
In an
Yes.
analysis way.
There is a difference in the feeling and the effect and the overall shape and size of the flower and in so many things. And I can tell you that because I've grown specific plants repeatedly in different fashions,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's what I like to do because I want to know if that plant is a good medical plant. Yes, I found it. It tastes good. It tastes great. Cool. It's going to work. Let's keep on working it. I know what my limitations are. Yeah. Whatever. So but for me, it's not like now I don't have to just rely on what I can taste, what I can smell. I can actually trust a system of research because I love science.
Sure.
Like I love other people who will give their life to understand one specific thing. Like that is amazing. A doctor learning to specifically know about the brain, like I will trust that neurologist to know exactly what he should know about my brain, you know? So like, how much more are we going to learn about this plant now and what differences in its environment cause to it now that we can research this plant?
Yeah, that's so important.
Because there are differences. There are things and things that make a difference on the plant and what it produces. So what do I need to do?
There's something to be grateful for. We can bitch about this and that. We're really just splitting hairs. The fact that we can sit here and talk together about this out in the open is the way.
It's huge.
This is the research right here. This is moving the bar forward. Us being able to collaborate. Mm-hmm. It's amazing how much we've shared already.
Right?
Okay. It really is. We just don't see it. It's not an obvious thing. But we couldn't even talk about this 20 years ago.
Yes.
Okay? You're a hardcore criminal if you do these sort of things.
You have pictures of plants.
That's the life we came from.
That's evidence of manufacturing. You don't even have to have plants. You could just have the grow equipment and pictures with you in the pictures. That right there. That's a case. You'd be locked in a fucking cage for years.
And those plants could have been CBD. You could have been growing.
Correct.
It could have been 0%
0% hemp.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. That's not what
right?
regulation's about. Regulation's about control. It's not about
Right.
protecting medicine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
That's the
not
thing.
an
This
ethical thing. Regulations are not ethical. Okay, this is a control system. Don't
Yeah.
assume these regulations are here to do the right thing for us or to
they're
protect
not
us.
to help you. They're not to
You're
save
very
you. They're not
naive
to
if you
protect
believe
you.
these people who know nothing about pot are going to come in here and regulate pot.
Mhm.
Okay, they don't know what is good or bad pot.
Mhm.
Okay, they're going on secondhand information, and then they're not doing a very good job. If you've bought any bargain weed from the dispensary,
Mm.
okay, you go get a deal, you get a $10 eighth, bro, $20 eighth. Guess what? It's fucking rotten and it's full of mold.
Yeah, it is.
And you breathe that shit in and you get fucking sick. Okay, how is that legal? How is that
Right.
regulation look at the consumer? It's not. It's regulation for the control of the monetary market.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look
And
at the shit with the
that's why
DCC
you wanna
right now.
to control the quality. Not because people shouldn't grow weed or shouldn't sell weed. It's because after a while, some people will be like, I ain't having that. I'm going to do this right myself. I'm going to get this right. Because each person's going to know what's going to work for them.
Yeah. Well, look at the shit going on with the DCC right now. It's ridiculous. Their regulations don't work because, like you said, these are people that don't know weed. If you don't know weed, how are you going to regulate it? How are you going to tell a grower how not to hide things? How are you going to tell a cultivator not to move this or that here or there?
What about the whole matrix?
I've
label system
watched
that
a
Jason brought up?
DCC regulator ask
With
a
the fucking-
grower what their job was supposed to be. Like I've watched
They're
it. What,
ignorant.
what am I supposed to
They're
be looking
pure-
at? Like what
They're
the?
pure ignorant.
What do you
dude.
mean?
Yes, they're
And-
terribly ignorant.
And it's
Terribly
like
ignorant. They have no business.
Not all of them. Not all of
regulating
them. But
not every
man,
single one. But imagine if you were a person who gave a fuck, who genuinely did, and then
Well, look
you
at Jay
get
Nectar.
you get into that.
He obviously
And that
cares.
surrounds
He's
you.
Of course he
running
does.
Yes.
an above board operation, trying to be completely legal and follow every regulation there is. And he goes, how
And
come
it's a
there's
joke.
like arsenic and lead in my labels? I'm trying to run an organized here, bro. You know,
That's
it's
huge.
you see the people who care and then will jump through hoops for regulation. He's one of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And it's making his life very difficult.
Go ask that dude his regulatory costs to operate every year.
Gee, I'll bet.
It's absurd. It's
I'll
absurd.
bet.
And the guy's just trying to feed his family. He's
And
not
it's gonna
trying to
bankrupt
be a
9 out of
fucking
10
millionaire.
small farmers.
Yeah.
You know, those regulatory costs. That's what bankrupts the entry level mom and pop.
Yep. No, you have to
You
be
have
a
more
certain
people with
size
these
to.
local farms, you know, just
to
offering
operate.
this really good weed.
Yep. That's how
And
it is
then-
in Arizona. If you don't have 5 million liquid, you can't even apply for the lottery ticket when they decide to host the lottery.
Yeah.
It's not even on a schedule. They just go, yeah, this year we'll do some more lottery tickets.
Well, this year
25
somebody paid the $100,000 bonus fee to be picked in the
Yeah.
lottery.
Yeah,
You know, that's what it becomes. It becomes this
25K.
ridiculous, corrupt system, like everything else, that becomes
Yep.
too large.
25K non-refundable for a lottery ticket.
Yeah, you know, I
And I'm
thought those
just like,
$25
who
rental
can-
applications were bad. You know,
Who can fucking do that? What do I got to do? I got to be a slumlord. It's like I
gotta
have this
be-
hierarchy of entrepreneurship that I have to
Yeah,
go
you
through
do.
before I can just jump
you have
into
to already be
business
successful.
and do the thing I
Yeah,
want to
you do. Here in Canada, you have to build your facility. If you want a 10,000 square foot, which is your minimum canopy for a craft grow, you have to spend a minimum of $1.5 million. You have to build the facility outright, fences, security cameras, and
10-foot
then you can apply. You have to build the
After you
facility,
spend it all.
and then you
Yeah,
have
the funny thing is what all of us are talking about is the second phase of your business. The first phase of getting that business started, of any of these businesses started, is finding the money.
you need
Yeah.
it first.
Yep.
So here's the question.
Pay to play.
There's a specific group. There's farmers who usually have their own money to start out with and start out in the negative, or
Well,
there
that-
are these big conglomerates that come in and
It's 30 fucking investors all throwing life investments into these fucking things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
groups.
Yep.
Right.
so we
Yeah.
got to start with where is that coming from is like That's why I'm a firm believer and we should be able to go to the farms. I want to go on a tour at Jade
Yes, you
Jade
do.
Nectar's. You know what I
I
mean?
do too.
I'm
I do.
coming with
Like,
you.
That's where we should meet up,
through the country.
guys.
Okay, and I don't think there's anything wrong
Yes.
with these big corporations playing that. The problem is they're pushing out these little mom and pops. They want
that's a
100%
problem.
of the market. They can't have 90% of the fucking market.
Mhm.
They need 100% because they want no competition, and that's my problem. You're already going to make more money.
Already.
Okay, mom and pop's only going to get 10% of that market, but that should be there for people who want that high quality. They don't have to
Yes.
go to McDonald's. They can go to like this really good sandwich shop owned by a family.
Why can't I buy Cuban cigars? You know what I mean? Like those are supposed to be the best cigars in the world.
Yeah.
Why can't I buy
they are.
those?
Why can't
They
I have
are.
the best?
Right. Correct.
And you know, I'm just going to bring up quickly about the science and you know, educating people about it, which will come. Is I think it's so important that doctors get educated. So eventually they're going to be able to teach
Yes.
these health benefits.
Well, if doctors
Hey,
are
Dr.
run by
Riley Kirk,
corporations,
let's all lift her up. Dr. Riley Kirk doing and that group doing all that at Cannabis. Like
So important.
let's all tell everybody watching, like go watch her, like watch her podcast. She has a lot of information. She really does on a lot of this stuff.
Everyone needs to know this. It's important.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
that's what we need to do. Jade Nectar, we all should support people like Jade Nectar. And I mean,
Yes.
let's start with Jade Nectar. Why don't we have a FCP meetup? Why don't we start a fucking plan right now? Let's just start the plan now, because this is how it materializes, is you start with an intention.
That's
and so
right.
let's, if you're in the chat, you're in our chat, our private chat where we include these people on this show. You're in our chat right now live. If we want to go visit Jade Nectar, let's make a plan. Let's make a plan for it. Support that man, because I think we're all in agreement that that's what we want to see more of.
Yeah.
And so we won't see
And
more
that's
of
what
it.
he wants. He
Hell
wants
yeah.
to see a
Support
bus. He wants a bus full of people like us to show up on his property, right?
Yeah,
He-
they will
that's what he
appreciate
wants.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will appreciate it, and that have social media channels with a couple hundred to a few thousand followers, and we could all be there just blasting him, and then we can go to the next one. And it doesn't
Hell,
always have
we
to
should
be
have
the
a
same
show.
people at the next one. Yes,
We should
yes,
have
absolutely.
a show there.
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
where
We have the
should be.
ability.
Yes.
Fucking
Yes.
Peter's got the platform. We've got a fucking group of badass followers that watch, and they're dedicated to this channel. Like, we should all go do that. And if you're not able, no fucking judgment, no harsh, but like we'll show you what it's like. And so we can't help but support people like that. That's the only way we're gonna build.
FCP Jade Nectar Cannabis Cup.
I think that'd be super
Hell
cool.
yeah.
That'd be
Come
super cool.
on.
And so I'll
Everyone
just
can bring their jars. Everyone brings their harvest jar and
Oh.
share. Let's share the jars. Have an
Yes.
event. Oh, like this. I'd love that. I'd love
Your
to-
Landrace cannabis jars. Hell yeah.
Exactly.
The ugly
Yeah.
buds. I'm bringing the
All of
ugliest
them.
buds, okay?
The ugly shit, the gross stuff, the
But it's
stuff
gonna
that
blow
is,
your head off.
tastes just like wood. I want the
Yeah.
stuff that tastes like the wood you
Yes,
cut
there'll
down
be
after you
the
cut
ugly,
the plant
the
down.
ugly bud category. Who's got the ugliest weed? There'll be a prize for that, for sure.
That would be dope as fuck. Let's do it.
Oh, come
Let's
on.
make
Hell
it happen.
yeah.
Let's
That's
make
the
it
way to
happen.
bring it back around. That's
I'm
the
down
best.
for that.
I love that.
Yeah. Because then I don't know. Just the more we showcase, it'll turn people on.
Yeah,
That's what it's
the
all
next
about,
step.
right?
That's how you
it's
grow the
turning people
community.
on.
We've got to grow. We got to plant. These are us planting seeds. We got to plant new seeds, seeds of community, seeds of
Right.
brotherhood. You know. Let's
Well,
go.
actually, that's funny you say that, because this week, like, I'm like, man, my wife's like, you need to get out of the house, and I'm like, man, I know I need to get out of the house, so I should probably just drive up there and go buy some seeds at a dispensary before this stupid ass ban. That's what I should do.
Right.
Oh yeah.
He's got some good stuff going on there. He's got that vomit Iranian cross.
I want to try that so bad.
I'd love some of that. Come on.
I want that in my face. I want to
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had some baby shit terps coming out of a cross that I put in a jar a couple of months ago, and I'd never experienced it before. I've heard people talk about it. I'll tell you what, That jar, man.
Oh,
When I open that thing up, like
Smacking.
you have to pull away. Oh,
Yes.
stop it.
so
But
I
Yes.
had a buddy.
the high is amazing. It's amazing.
Oh man, I had a buddy. He loves doing hash. Like he loves temple balling, he loves making hash, and he gave me this stuff and had me try it. Dude, it was disgusting. It was gross. It smelled just like vomit and shit. Like it was gross.
Oh
So
yeah.
disgusting when you smelt it. But then we hit it and oh my God, it was delicious. For real. So damn good. So
Yes.
yeah, hell yeah.
Some of those nasty rank ones. It's like the ones that make you curious, like, ooh, I don't like that, but
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, I
That's
don't
offensive, you know.
oh, yeah. But then you smoke it, man. It's just it's just pure euphoria. It's yeah,
Right?
it's powerful. Yeah, we found one. We nicknamed it the deli dumpster. We coined it the deli dumpster. We
Dumpster.
found it in Ottawa. Yeah, it was
Oh,
gnarly. I
yeah.
haven't popped any of those yet. I need to. Yeah.
The diversities. That's the
Yeah.
best about some of these landrace fries is that diversity. I'm not getting many smells outside at the moment, except from the purple Zacatecas from Hybrids. They've started flowering, and these are called. He has two phenos, the skunky pheno and the floral pheno, and the floral pheno are flowering for me, and it's like this. It really is floral. It's this beautiful, like it's almost like Granny's perfume, like this floral perfume of some rich woman's perfume that wafts at you when you're walking down the street. But on the back, it's not like a chemical perfume. It's still soft, like almost like this little bit of passion fruit at the end. So the sharp passion fruit is like that volatile perfume, but it's unreal. So that's the only terpenes I've got in the yard at the moment for my landrace. But I'm certainly always excited for smelling new terps. I got lots from my Vietnamese this year indoors. Smells I hadn't smelled before that I had trouble putting words to. You know, I was saying things like exotic wood, which it was. There was like wood oil, and there was, we say mentholated or eucalyptus camphor, but it wasn't like eucalyptus like it. So I think that's what's also exciting about growing landrace is you might find something that's new that you don't really know how to describe yet. And those are very fun to discover.
Well, that's the fun about land races. You know,
Yeah.
you're finding something new. If you want something that's already known, it's out there.
Yeah.
You're looking for something new. This is where you look. You look in nature.
Yep. I mean, okay, so like anything that we have now that we consider good came from something else.
Yeah.
It came from a combination of this place plus that place.
Well,
And
that's
like a
where I'm
couple
at.
generations.
I think why would you want to grow some of these strains that we're chasing when you probably make something better that checks all those boxes from land races, and you're not going to be bottlenecked, and you're just going to be breeding properly.
Breeding.
Oh my God. It's not 30% THC.
You know, this is what cherry pie should be.
Fuck.
This fucking Viet, the Azad Viet 3 F2. This is like there's a touch of pastry and there's old cherry. And I grew cherry pie. There was the clone going around, the Future Cannabis Project. It came from Kevin Jodry, and then it went to Tony, and then it went to Cheddar Bob, and then I ended up getting it, and I grew it for a couple years, and it didn't live up to the hype.
Okay.
It was a cool plant, and there were some cool buds, and I loved it, but it wasn't all that. You know, it's like it's muted or it's flat. Like a soda gets flat after a while. That's what some of these strains seem like when you're searching a bag seed, or the clone is really just a bag seed of that strain.
Yep.
Whereas a lot of these land races, you're talking about like a lot of vibrant, unadulterated power.
Yes.
You know, these terpenes are they're more bold than these loud designer weed. You know, and they're more singular.
Yeah, I like
Start
that.
breeding them together, you get this complexity. When you see the Landrace, it's like, oh no, that was straight like strawberry cream cheese, you know?
The complexity is special. Yeah. So that mother Azad Kashmir that took pollen. Actually, there was 3 females that took pollen, but at the time, I only pollinated one live. And those are the seeds you got. The next 2, I dusted pollen on them afterwards. So you got the first batch, and that was the best female. That female, it was like cherry shortbread. It was like a cookie, like a shortbread cookie, fresh with like cherry jam in it. And to me, it was just unreal how like out there, how it was prominent. It was just, that's what it was. And there was complexity to it. You know, if you smell it first, you're like, oh, fruit. And then you go into cherry, and then you get like, oh, there's some pastry or something in there. And then of course that all, you know, changes through the long flower and the dry and the cure. But those prominent like smells that really capture you and like pull you in, like I find I do get more of those unique smells from the Landrace cultivars that I've been growing for a few years.
Especially some of these Vietnamese strains. When I grew that North Vietnamese from Dwight, I believe that's in our Viet 3-way if you go back far enough.
Because it's a black. Was that there is in the 3-way? There's a Vietnamese black. Is Dwight?
So this is the black. I don't know if you could see that.
Can you bring
here? Hold on. Let me. I'll bring it up real quick. Give me a second.
I'm like, I got shit.
This is my
the computer.
Oh wait, there we go.
Okay,
backwards.
Yeah. Here's your Viet black.
No, you're good.
Okay, so if you go
down, man, Vietnamese
down
black.
Here, what is this? A North Vietnamese?
North Vietnamese Chinese.
That's exactly
Yunnan.
what White's North Vietnamese is.
Yunnan, China. Yes.
Okay, that's exactly what it is. And so it's in the Vietnamese black, which is then, you know, crossed to the purple Vietnamese Delat, which was then bred to the Hobok Silverleaf.
Yes.
That was done in 2022 catalog of Snow High's stuff. So, like, I believe the reason we confused the 3-way with Dwight's is because Dwight's is actually in the 3-way. So some of those we were describing them perfectly. That's why he said, "Oh yeah, that's it."
Yeah,
in there, in there. That's why we got confused, I believe.
That was confusing because I was chatting with Dwight there just for a moment before I had to go to work. And I said, yeah, I'm growing this Vietnamese, and I was pollinating them at the moment. So all the females were in flower, and they were about to accept pollen. And I said, you wouldn't believe it. Like some people probably think I'm just saying this, but I said, it smells like strawberry cotton candy. And Dwight went, yep, that's it. That's the Vietnamese. And he came on the show late. I don't even think he knew really what I was talking about. And he just said, yeah, that's my Vietnamese. And that's
why I thought you were. I watched. We grew these at the same time. Okay, I was growing the North Vietnamese, and at the same time you're growing the 3-way, and we thought we were growing the same strain. Yeah, that's how we started 100%. Our collaboration. Yeah. We're like, we're growing the same stuff, bro. Check this out. And then we realized later, like, no, these are different strains. And then I did a little more research. So I'm like, no, that strain is actually in the 3-way. If you go back, it's not a pure Vietnamese black. It's a Vietnamese black that was made by Fett that has a combo in there. Yeah, and the combo is a Southern Saigon and a North Vietnamese. So
it's so exciting. You know what? So that purple.
I about this a little bit, and they seem to have more information about this. He said he's the one that gave the Vietnamese black to Dave at AK Bean Brains, and Dave did a big reproduction.
And that was his Billy Goat. He called that.
They called the Billy Goat.
Yeah,
and I believe these are all the same.
I do know that the Billy Goat's a black. That's all I know, but I didn't know where it came from. Yeah,
I got this off of the forums, just digging through Overgrow and IC Mag and stuff, and they're like, "Well, this is what they use to make the Vietnamese black." You know,
I'll tell you what,
between Fett and Snow High.
Yeah. And I mean, they're all messing with it. It's so amazing because it's really these breeders. Like these are breeders that we love to see what they're doing and what they're going to do next, and they're all messing with it. I think
I
also
couldn't
Blackbird
afford this
has
stuff either. Snow High charges quite a price for his genetics.
Yeah,
And you buy some of these strains, and there's no guarantee you're going to be able to grow them. I struck out on a Snow High pack, like a $300 Snow High pack, bro.
No.
Like, I'm going to grow this great shit, bro, and then I couldn't even germinate it.
Oh,
It's kicking the nuts. Yeah,
that don't pop. I never put it
fucking
on the
hurts.
Okay,
Yeah.
but of course it hurts. But this is the game.
But it's part of it.
You got to take this. You got to take these hits. And then what happens? A couple years later, I started getting these Snow High genetics through Damien, and then Peter sent me the Jalalabad, which is also from Snow High. He's over here selling these $10 pack of seeds on a Future Cannabis Project, and these are like $150 pack of seeds.
Yeah,
the Vietnamese three-way is like freaking $300 a pack.
It's
it was a ridiculous strain. Snow High, and when you grow it out, you're like, this isn't like regular Landrace. A lot of work with the Landrace.
Yeah,
and they had really good sourcing. So what's his name? John, I think that's his name at Snow High. His work is like, it looks pretty good to me.
Yeah,
right. It's top notch, but it's still a hard swallow for $300 pack of seeds.
Well, that's my point. It's terrible in a way what we're doing by.
It's just
not. He deserves to make that money for the work he's done. But in a way, we also deserve to take what we have and do what we want to do with it. And I'm sure he'd be happy that we were all talking about it and growing it.
Well, it's only praises we're speaking.
Sure.
We're just talking about the difference between striking out on $300 and you think you lost your money, and then guess what? Karma comes around, and a friend of yours makes it give you exactly what you're looking for.
I love that. That's
the best thing about the community.
That's what I love about this.
Yes,
strains are cool, but there's a greater story. It's like this great myth. You touched this, you ran across this, and years later it didn't work out, and you end up getting that later. It's really cool.
It is.
I hate to nerd out on it, but I love nerding out.
That's the point, and
that's why we're here.
You know what, Rob, the Azad Kashmir, that came to me through a friend, and I didn't have to buy that, and it was going it was kind of getting hyped, and it was everywhere. Everyone was growing the Azad.
I never heard of it, and it's in everything now.
And I just had it given to me, and I think that was beautiful. So I then put it with something else that was given to me, which was the Vietnamese, and then I gave it to you. And I think that's what I love, man, is that I got some of the greatest varieties that I could imagine given to me by people they were like, hey, these were given to me, I'm going to give them to you. And I thought, I'm going to pass that on, man, and I'm going to do the same.
Well, I passed it on to Peter. I
gave
Peter 20 packs of the Azad Viet 3 and 20 packs of the Azad Viet 3 crossed to the Killer A5.
Love that.
So I got hit up by a couple people who, they're not growing it yet, but they got it and they're stoked. And, that just makes me feel really good. Not for me, for the strain and for this thing. It's like a chain. Yeah. It's like a chain letter. An old chain letter. This guy sent it, and you sent it on after that. It's not about.
You get to see all the different.
It's this whole fucking thing. Look at it. You get to see where all the nerves go, and it goes over here. It's like the blood flowing through the body.
You get to see all the different evolutions of it.
He's got that platform where, you guys remember when Peter used to go to every event for 4 or 5 years. He was out in the field recording this shit.
Fucking chucking seeds at people now.
He was going everywhere. I was like, how is this guy doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Because he loved it. He loves it. Yeah. I think he wants to do it more, but
I just think if we could all kind of throw back,
right?
It should keep his wheel spinning, and we're all going to benefit from this. We all benefited from this already.
That's right.
It's a beautiful thing to feed back into. It's like Ouroboros. It goes on forever. You're feeding yourself.
That's the greatest thing about the cannabis community is that the more you enrich it, the more you get enriched back.
Yeah.
So if you put out good, you're going to get taken care of in ways that you never even fucking thought of. Yeah. It'll just show up. out of nowhere.
right.
It's happened to me
Yeah.
on countless occasions, and it's just like, why the fuck would somebody do that? It just happened. I
This is
just
the
got some
value. This is the
amazing
value,
fucking
not the
clones in the
monetary.
mail. It just, yeah, it's just like people
Magical
are so
value.
fucking cool. And cannabis, the thing
Oh
about
yeah.
cannabis, people want to share it. It's like you want to put it in other people's hands because you're like, do you fucking like this as much as I do? Like,
Yeah,
this is so
yes.
fucking good. Try this. What do
Yes.
you think about it?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the
It's
more
like telling a
you
joke.
take care, the more
We
you
all
take
want
care, the
someone
more
to
you'll
be
get taken
happy
care
and
of.
smile, right?
Yep.
There's something infectious about that. If you feel good and you can pass on feeling good somehow, like that's a great thing, you know?
Yep.
Oh, I think this can sincerely save people's lives.
It does.
Not
It
just
does.
improve quality
Genuinely.
of life. I think it can literally save people's lives.
I agree.
And there's a
That's
great.
why I'm into Landrace, the medicinal side of it. There's lost profiles, there's
Yes,
lost
there is.
combinations, there's things that are not paid attention to that we don't even understand yet.
Well, it's like
Oh,
you said,
yeah.
everything that's made was made from this at one point.
Yes.
Okay. So, a lot of stuff's just like flat, like a soda that was made 10 years ago. But the ingredients that went into that soda is a Kush, and it was a Durban, and it was this, and you just do it again. And then it's fresh.
Yes.
Okay,
Do
you
it
got maybe
again.
20 years until it gets fucking flat again.
Yeah, and that's okay too. But I like the
okay.
whole let's reinvent the wheel again because I
Anything
think
you want, you can remake.
yeah, you
They
can.
call it
Yeah.
reverse engineering in tech, okay?
Yeah, but it's still going to be fresh. It'll never be
It
the
will never be
exact
the same.
replica.
It will never be the same
yeah.
unless you're dealing with clones.
Yeah,
I don't.
so
Yeah.
that's what makes it worth it. Yeah, let's make
Well,
it
and even
again.
at that, again, let's go
Nuance.
back there. Even with clones, there is an epigenetic miss. So so the only true way to follow the genetic lineage is to keep moving it on.
Mm. Keep it
Like,
going.
Yeah,
Keep it
I
evolving.
mean,
Keep
yeah,
adding
evolving.
something new to it to give it a new degree.
Exactly. And how really, like, I don't know. I don't want to give anybody ideas with my ADHD brain right now, thinking real deep into that stuff. You know what I mean? Because like there are so many things we can do with this plant, like just with the science of this plant and the way plants in general have been studied, knowing that this plant has yet to find even snippet of the amount of study that science has done to all these other plants.
Of course. Think of how much
Like,
medicinal has come from hemp in how many years? 5 or 10 years? Hemp, which is what people would, right? Oh, that's hemp. Don't worry about that. Get rid of that.
well, not even
But
even
some
just
of the
medicinal.
miners, they were all hiding in the hemp. So that's like what Ryan said. Like some of these effects and these cannabinoids are hiding out there in varieties, maybe feral, maybe hemp, who knows what, and then cross two together and bring it out. I mean, that's huge. So we can't forget about any of it. We can't put any of it to the side and say, oh, that's a big lanky mountain ganja. That's useless. That don't matter, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and I ain't gonna lie.
it's-
Like I'm in a prime area to talk to hemp growers, and I've talked to a couple of hemp growers about what the Adelong strain specifically I've seen in it, and okay, so for your hemp crop, like what would you be looking for, and why would you be looking for that? Because it is a lot of the times for what they're looking for fibers and all of that stuff. Like why are you looking for the opposite of what I'm looking for?
Yeah. Because it's different. That's the thing I can't get across to most people. This plant is insanely plastic. You can manipulate it to do whatever the fuck you want. Do you want it to produce grape-sized seeds? Cool, it'll do that. Do you want it to produce fuckloads of THC? Cool, it'll do that. Do you want it to produce the strongest natural resilient fiber in the world? Cool, it'll do that. But if you regulate it strictly on the chemicals that it produces, you lose all of that unique expression. All of that goes away. If we define hemp by its chemical production, that's not hemp. Hemp is cannabis that you use for non-psychoactive purposes. That includes buildings, sails on a boat, paper, all the way up to like even I would even say medicines.
Yeah.
Medicine can still be
Carbon
considered part of
sequestration.
hemp. Yes, but
You want to
like that
remediate some soil? Throw a
that
shit ton of cannabis seeds down.
right. But if you just define what is medicine as 0.3% delta 9 THC or less, and don't pay attention to anything else, that's irregular. That
Yeah.
does not fit what we understand about humans and this plant and how it affects us. Because yes, there are people that are hypersensitive to THC, and so
Sure.
they need a cultivar that is 1% or less. If they're going to smoke it or consume it or make a heated tincture or RSO type product, they need a very low THC process content. Now, there are also other people that find medical utility with insanely high THC levels. That's
Mm-hmm.
where RSO kind of came for, was for cancer patients to tolerate the pain, the nausea, and the antiemetic necessity that they needed, so they could stop vomiting and fucking actually have the appetite to eat a little bit of food to keep themselves sustained through chemotherapy. And so medicine is uniquely defined by the individual. It's not the chemical. The chemical is not the medicine. The dose and the individual is what makes the medicine. And so some people might need a 30-to-1 at a fucking really high dose. Some people might need a 1-to-30 at a super low dose. It
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah. So yeah, it's all in our definitions. It's all in the way we classify the plant. And the big thing that I don't think the government seems to understand is that it's all one plant. Autoflowers, indica, sativa, hemp, marijuana, CBD, THC, like
Cannabis,
it's
whatever you want to call it.
all
cannabis.
one plant.
It's
all
one
one plant.
genome.
And it only does these certain things, these other things that seem different from drug, because human beings put their hands on it.
Yes.
And they said, I'm going to use this plant for this thing because I'm lacking in this thing, and this plant will do it. And we figured that out tens of thousands of years ago. In every corner of the world where the plant could grow, we figured out a way to utilize it. Even if it was just ornamental, aesthetic purpose on pottery, which is kind of our earliest example of human beings using it. They found seed impressions on a pot.
Yeah.
On a clay pot that was fired like 24,000 years ago. They found cannabis seeds impressed into it. So that's kind of our earliest human connection with the plant. Oh, what if it's way older than that? Who cares?
So far.
That
So
explains
far, yeah.
like why there's so we have epigenetic change in humans and plants. It's all the same, right?
Yep.
So as human beings, we grew up on this planet for 10,000 years or obviously longer, because they keep discovering these things. So it was in our body. That's our endocannabinoid system. So prohibition has made humans unwell. Taking cannabis away from
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
You're
Yes.
taking something that our body was used to, maybe not my generation, but the last, So there's been epigenetic change, which I believe has been causing whatever illness. I'm no doctor, but we do need to get this back into human beings, and it doesn't matter how, like you say, whether it's your high THC or your only CBD cultivar, or you're eating it in your soup with your family and wherever you're from. But I think it needs to be everywhere again.
Or even
Or you're eating
just
meat that
secondhand
ate it
pure
as
meat.
food.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because that means their immune system and their
Yes.
metabolism and everything is full par. It's running
we
and
should be thinking.
operating at full
what we
balance.
consume consumes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
food
we
consumption.
feed them silage from wheat and corn that's been sprayed with glyphosate so that it dies
Glyphosate
2 weeks
everything.
early
Stop
and
it.
just dries it out. And like,
No.
no, really, genuinely, like you should look into current farming practices. It's horrifying what we do to produce enough food to feed the world. But
It is.
that's
Watching the
also
evolution
that
of
people get to
farming
eat.
is
It's this strange catch-22 where it's like there's more people alive now that have a higher quality of life and a sustenance, a nutritive sustenance, like fortified rice. Vitamin fortified rice has fed billions of people. And
Sure.
so it's just, yeah, commercial sucks, but you know what? We have a lot of fucking people to feed. So I get it. I get where these world leaders and where these high perspective operators of like, you know what? I have this number to meet. And so if I
yeah.
don't meet that number, if I don't get rid of these fucking bugs that are destroying 30% of my crop, that means how many hundreds of millions of people starve. And so it's just it's a
That's what
disgusting
pushes it.
system, but it is part of what we live with and we need to recognize it. We need to appreciate it and understand that none of us would be where we are without it, and we can do better. And all it
Well,
takes
and
is time.
even
That's it.
let's remember, not
Move
even more than
forward.
100 years ago, the government would force farmers to grow this plant. Like let's
Exactly.
let's remember that. Not even 100 years ago, the government forced farmers to grow this plant.
Yep.
Like, come on, like we've got to get over it real quick. Like there are people in living in our lifetime that watched it go from legal to illegal.
Yeah, it's been a short time, right? It's okay. It's coming around. I mean, we're all going to complain about something because it's government regulated. So there's going to be lots of complaints.
People
Yes.
complain. That's why we're complaining, because that's
Yeah.
one of our habits as humans.
That's right.
Yep.
So that's going to happen. But realistically, I wouldn't be able to grow all these plants out here if the government didn't get involved. And I wouldn't have done it because I've got a family here. But now I've got a license, I have a medical license to grow, more plants than I thought I'd ever be allowed to grow legally. And it's great. We need to just take your rights and to grow and grow. That's
Yeah.
Well, a big thing we need to remember is that we are the government. The government is not some unobtainable entity, some shadow.
Yeah.
It's just human beings. And if those human beings don't give a fuck about the things we don't give a fuck about, then we can't have that expectation. And so if you think the things that you give a fuck about matter to a lot of people, to your community, then be open and be voiceful and be involved. I'm not saying you have to go run for Senate and go be a congressman and be president of the United States, but because I don't think that does much. But you can go to your local city council meetings, and you can find out where it starts from there, and just keep going further.
Meet other people that are willing to do the things, that are willing to say, hey, that box that I'm supposed to check on this November, that isn't a presidential cycle, or is just, this vote, who cares? I'm just going to throw that in the trash. You know how many people throw their ballots in, just throw them in the trash?
Sure.
No, actually do it. Like, read what you're doing. Instead of spending time wondering what celebrity had this, what tragedy is happening to your local government.
Yep. It's got to start there. It has to start there before it gets national, and there just has to be enough people that want to do it for the right reasons. And so convince the powers that be, as they are, that there's a way to make money ethically, and that you want to be part of that. You want to generate revenue for them, and that will get them to start listening to you. And you can do it in many different ways, whether that's drug. I think that's a hard battle right now, because there's some really expensive licensure when it comes to that.
Oh, yeah.
But if we're talking about hemp, that's more accessible on a national level. But how hard would it be to get a hemp license, work the fields for a while, work with your local regulators, and then tell them how ridiculous this 0.3% stranglehold is, and say, let me grow some 5%. You know why? Because I don't give a shit about the resin. I'm not selling the chemical component of the plant.
Great.
That's all going to be compost.
Yeah.
I want to sell the seeds. I want to sell the leaf to salad eaters, and I want to sell the roots to tincture makers, and I want to make chipped hemp hurd for insulation, and I want bast fiber for some cloth. How about that? And I want to be able to sell my fiber to this mill, and I want to sell this hemp hurd to over. Like, that's how you have to work with your local regulators.
And someone has to be the first all the time.
Well, and then here's the other thing, like, to any local regulator that would be watching, like, let's be honest. the people that know how to do this are probably the best people to seek out for those positions. Like the people who know about this plant, who study this plant, who actually care about what this plant can do and understand that it is a single plant.
That might be far too logical for regulations.
Various
people to be logical.
uses, like
There's no profit
let's
motive.
understand that that's what this is. That this is a plant to be utilized for many different purposes. And if you have the right people doing the right things, everything will go right. And that's in a perfect world. But we can start.
No, that's a good perspective. That's a good perspective. We have to try.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. I think it's naive to think necessarily you're going to get a piece of this current market without a huge leverage of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're not.
I think
not.
What we're talking about here is finding kind of how the plant works for each of us individually, and then kind of finding what's in common. I think there's a lot more in building our community than necessarily trying to change the regulators who aren't necessarily even in this field.
Maybe we care about regulation so much only because of one reason, and it's the seed. Maybe it's the seed ban that gives us the passion to fight this right now.
No, I don't think you shouldn't fight. I think you should fight. I just think you shouldn't be naive about what the regulator's perspective is.
Yeah.
They're not here to necessarily be ethical.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
And saying I have the high ethical ground, I'm doing the right thing, might not get you very far in that game. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're pirates, bro. This is big business, and it's hardcore. They're playing hardball, bro.
They have to see the avenue of parasitization.
What they like
if
to
they
do,
can't parasitize you,
and just
then
buy,
and you still survive. If they kill the host, then what's the point, right?
Well,
but they need
to
be able to
they
parasitize
go somebody and they take all his methods and all his standard operating procedures and they write it down, and then they go hire somebody and they pay him whatever the fuck to go do exactly what they had written down. This is what they do. Yep. They hire these people to go tell all their games and all their plays, and they think they can just hire an amateur to do this. Okay, and that's why a lot of these batches are so bad.
Oh God!
Okay, they hired somebody who doesn't grow weed or started growing weed, and they think they have the whole thing written down. It's like, well, no, that's a master's formula. That's Yoda, bro. You can't just do what Yoda does because you wrote down what he does. That's how the computer thinks. I can go copy his every action and I'll get the same result. Well, there's this whole other element besides your action going on here, especially for the plant. You know, the plant does respond to your energy, whether you believe in.
This is true.
Whether you believe in positive vibrations or you believe in auras. Okay. The plant responds.
Yes, it does.
And they've done scientific tests. Okay, where they've gone and yelled at a plant and told them it was a piece of shit and the plant died. And then another one, they told them, you're beautiful, I love you so much, and the plant flourished.
Yes.
You know, these living things we have a lot in common with, because that's how we respond.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody talks like that to us, we don't do very well. We can act like we're tough and we try to find a way to. No, we don't do well when people insult us. It hurts our feelings. Okay, when somebody builds us up and encourages us, we do a lot better. It's an amazing thing that we've kind of lost track of in society. You know, it's one thing to toughen people up. It's another thing to crush their potential entirely.
And I think people have lost knowing that plants are so closely connected to us. We're not that far up, right? Sure, they don't walk, but that's about it. That's about the only difference. But there's
we're so sure that we're a superior being, we don't realize that we're actually the servant to the plant.
There you are. There you are.
Absolutely correct.
We're so sure that
how many of them outlive us?
You look at it, we're actually a servant to this thing.
We do.
Humanity is in a servitude role.
Yes.
Sure, it gives us some honey. That's why we keep coming back. But we're the one doing the work. We're the worker bees, spreading this around.
Moving it around, looking after it.
Who's to say the plant doesn't know what's going on? I think that's kind of naive to think the plant doesn't have some sort of, not necessarily a consciousness like we do, but some sort of moral awareness. Look what it does to us. Look how it raises our frequency and our vibration.
Yeah.
You don't think that's operating maybe on a higher spiritual level? I just don't think we really understand the plant as well as we think we do.
Mm-hmm. And I think the only
It's
thing
ancient.
that helps is when you consume that plant. That's the only thing that really helps
Explain
you
it to someone till
come
you see it.
back. And then you're like, holy
Grow it.
shit.
Can't explain it to them.
You can't, no, you
Watch
have
a
to.
video. It's
Yeah.
not the same.
No, man, you
Oh.
experience that plant and you have those moments where you're with your plants, or even just, you don't need to be a grower. You could just be someone who consumes, and you puff that J and you go for that walk in the woods or by the river, whatever it is. And that connection happens, and you have that open-minded, like you're like, what the, like that's that connection, man. And you know,
It's ancient. This plant's
it's ancient, bro.
Plants are ancient. They're way older than
Yeah.
us.
I think
And
we
so-
remember our relationship.
We need them more than they need us. Far
I
more
think
than they need us.
Or
it's
Well, I think
symbiotic.
we're
I think
50-50 partners
very
in
mutual.
life.
I think the entire ecosystem is mutual. We just can't
The whole
see it that way.
biosphere. The whole biosphere. Yeah, we're all independent on each other. It's interdependent.
Everything's connected.
But cannabis and humanity is really, really, really close. And like the amount of chemicals in the plant that affect us in very specific ways, it's very strange. Like it almost doesn't make sense. Botanically speaking, cannabis is one of, if not the most complex plant on the planet. The amount of chemicals that it makes and the diversity of chemicals that it makes. There are other plants that make more chemicals, but it's a lot of very similar chemicals, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this plant is a chemical factory. It's producing alkaloids, terpenes, phenols, alcohols,
Proteins.
terpenoids,
I don't know
cannabinoids.
any other
It's
plant that
just-
produces terpenes
Proteins.
like that. What plant
Fibers.
produces multiple
Nuts.
terpenes?
Yeah, multiple.
It smells like every fruit there is. It smells like
Yeah.
everything. Dead animals.
all at
It smells
once.
like herbs, spices. What plant has all of
Similar-
those elements in it that can express itself?
similar to
That's right.
humanity, right?
Similar
all
to
shapes,
humanity. How come
all
of us
sizes,
look
all
these different
beliefs,
ways? We're
all
all the same.
cultures,
Yeah.
We're just
Correct.
different
And it grows
species.
all
No,
over
honestly,
the world.
different
species, didn't you?
expressions.
Think of how many places it grows and can learn to survive in Russia, in Africa, all over the world it survives, you know.
It's
And you grow
expression.
tomatoes all over the world and they all smell like tomatoes, but cannabis, it smells different every time, like, right?
Radically.
Yep.
It's radically different.
Yep.
Far out, man.
Yes. Very strange plant. And just how
Beautiful.
tightly reflective it is of humanity. And when humans use it for spiritual purpose, like you said, it just makes you a more grounded human.
It also
Makes
has a
you
bonding element.
recognize.
There's some communal bonding element
Yeah.
to it. We wouldn't be talking to each other
Yeah.
without this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I tell you what,
I don't think there's another crop, another plant that brings people together as
Maybe barley,
much.
maybe the fermentation process
Corn.
anciently was very social.
beer. Yeah.
People
Yeah.
making beer, they
Yeah.
came together.
Because the giant
You know-
pumpkin growing community probably isn't as big as the cannabis growing community, you know?
Well, look at the orchid community.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's bigger than the cannabis community.
Okay. That's
Same with dog
interesting.
breeding communities. Okay, this
Dog breeding,
covers
yeah.
a lot of. It's not just a huge hobby. It's just a huge community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unless you're part of it, you don't know how big.
That's right. I mean, if
And
I tell you,
yeah.
I could do some, you know, if I ended up on a farm in an acreage somewhere and I had so much room, I didn't need to just grow cannabis. I think I'd breed some animals. I think just because it's very interesting, you know, what you can see happen with a plant, you know, to be able to, you know, not mess with it, but, you know, to be able to create a beautiful puppy like that would be pretty far out
These
too, man.
feral cats that camp in my backyard and they start breeding, and I don't have the heart to go kill them or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
So I just let them do what they're going to do. And the amount of these were feral cats, okay, wild, and each generation the kittens are more tame.
Yes.
And this was something Darwin wrote about. I'm reading one of his books right now, and He talks a lot about animals to the point of, just driving you crazy with boredom. He goes on and on about pigeons, but he talks a lot about how these species can be feral, and the more they're domesticated, the more time they spend with people, they become tame, and they change plants just like the animals. They change their disposition. You don't think strawberry's a mutation. That plump little thing. Okay, that's not what I can't remember what plant it was originally. It's a mutation of another plant.
Pineberry.
Pineberry, yeah.
And a lot of our fruits like that. So a breeder like, Luther Burbank, he'd find what they call a sport or a mutation, as we're calling it a mutation. Yep. I believe runts are a mutation. I don't think it's a sickness or something wrong with the plant. I think it's just a different variation that is rare. I think they're sports. But those are usually what are selected and then inbred to make varieties. All our modern fruits, all of that, they were like a variation of another fruit with this one-off strange thing, and then they get grafted and sold commercially, and then because people can eat them. It's similar with dogs, and cats. They have their feral version, and then they have their version that is considered useful or compatible with man.
Yeah. Look at a wolf versus a fucking chihuahua.
Yeah, right?
That's what happens when mankind gets involved purely for aesthetic purposes.
Sure.
Well, there's a lot of debate how many original
they really messed up
animals
that
there
wolf.
were. A chihuahua may not necessarily be a descendant of a wolf. It may be a descendant of an extinct wild animal. So a lot of our modern varieties are descendant of extinct creatures, according to Darwin.
Interesting.
They're not just necessarily, wolf's a current wild canine that we see now. There are a bunch that have died off, as we know, just like the dinosaurs and all those other animals that are extinct. Well, those are like a link.
Cattle.
Of evolution.
Different types of beef. Yeah.
Yeah, all the different types of animals that are kind of dying off, where it's kind of thinning itself down to a specific breed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something works, and you can go sell this cow. You're going to stick to that type of cow. That's your business. Yes. You're not going to go pick a cow that has half the amount of meat or half the amount of milk. You're going to pick a producer, and that's how we got where we are with cannabis. Some of these ones were producers, and that's why they just got inbred, overbred.
Yeah, everything, man, everything. Chickens, turkeys.
You can ruin a good thing. You can ruin a good thing.
Modern meat chickens will die of natural causes because their heart, their circulatory system, and their legs, their skeletal structure cannot support the weight of their breasts after about 8 to 10 weeks. They will die.
This is a perfect example of like maybe inbreeding cannabis can be good to a certain extent.
Correct.
But
there's a limit.
Maybe we should start again now, right?
Modern meat turkeys. Your butterball turkey.
You take a little bit of medicine and it's good for you. You take 5 pills, man, you could kill yourself.
Yeah.
So it's all matter of degree.
A butterball turkey was artificially inseminated. They're too large to breed naturally.
And why do we do that? Because we sell this product.
Many, if not all, modern contemporary human consumption crops, anything, livestock, plants, anything that we consume has been a mutated, inbred, selected freak of fucking nature. It would not exist in a natural environment at all. It would die. It could not reproduce. And we also harvest things early and we harvest them young. Lamb is not mutton. Mutton is a mature sheep. Lamb is things that are under like 5 to 6 months old. And that's almost every bit of that piece of animal that's sold in the United States is lamb. That animal never reached a year old. And there's an entire industry, market, process, SOP, employee, multi-billion-dollar. That is the way things are. So you should not be surprised. You should not be offended.
That is the way things are on a big scale. Okay, this
correct.
Is why cannabis can't
That's what I mean.
Scaled up so big. They think they can,
but it will.
The quality goes off when you try to scale anything up too big.
Yes,
Whether
but it'll exist.
Government,
but it will exist regardless because the masses
No, it
will
exists. I don't
will
doubt
be
that it exists, and it's
they'll be
flourishing. It's being
accepting of that.
mass-produced, and they
Yep.
are accepting it. But
Yep.
I'm not
But
going to get
that's
into the
not
short-sightedness of that. It is
no.
what it is. I'm just saying the quality stuff is always going to be smaller scale. Craft beer,
Always.
Craft is
Yeah.
always-
craft livestock. Okay, this is some guy with 20 cows or 20 pigs, not 10,000. Same with the free range chickens. They got these wild chickens that are half the size. They're supposed to be twice as healthy because they're not bred artificially.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's just you're people who make money. You can't realize if you don't have the common sense to say I made enough. Okay, I fed my this, I paid this, I have enough. Okay, if you don't have common sense, there's never a limit. There's never a limit where you will go to make money. Because after a while, they're making money to make money. They're not making money to supply the things they need. That's the problem with money. Not that it's a bad thing; it's a great thing. You get all your projects done.
sure.
You're not gonna have a house. You're not gonna feed your kids without money. You're not gonna live.
Yeah.
You're not gonna exist in this world, period, without money. But there's a certain point where's the point where I have everything paid for?
To
Do
what
I need
end?
to make more money, or do I want to do something else?
Yeah.
And the basic thing for any craft is to do the craft really good. There has to be a point where this is more than money to me. This is
Yeah.
something
That's
that's
fun.
going to get down to me from my
Passion.
forefathers, or this is something I discovered on my own that I just fucking love, and it pays me back just by doing it. It has to be more than money. Make a living. Make a
That's
good
right.
living if you can.
Yeah.
Make a lot of money if you can supply
Sure.
a good product.
Sure.
But that's not why you're doing it. That's the byproduct of a good quality.
I like that.
It's why these guys are able to get, it's not just hype where you can get like, $100 an eighth. There's weed out there if you have the right customer. But, you're not going to just like con somebody in that inferior product. It's kind of like the dispensary, $50 eighth was like pretty good. That $100 eighth is probably like really, really good. And then you have your client already selected. Okay, this is a client who pays 2 or 3 times what the normal person pays for everything.
Yeah, and you're just going to sell less of it, right? You're going to sell it at a higher cost, but
Sell
to
it
less,
to a limited number of clients.
right?
Instead of
So
having
that's-
100,000
yeah.
people you're trying to market to, you're trying to market maybe to like
A
1,000
more
people
exclusive
in the world,
group.
Yes, yeah.
okay, who have the money to buy the product that you're selling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you're actually making more money, but that costs more to make a high quality product.
Well, then you're in a different environment.
To make the most amount of money, you're going to need the highest quality product. But the motivation for making the highest quality product is more than monetary.
Mm-hmm.
You
The
know,
people making the highest quality product are your smaller craft growers making
well, it's like you.
less money, who
It's
have
like
a
you.
love.
There's nobody.
and
There's
a
very
passion.
few people, I'll say, growing 16, 7-week sativas to finish just to do it. Okay, I got a couple jars of this shit, so I know, and I got it.
Mhm.
They're out there. We're seeing more and more. You're one of the early ones. You know, Tom Hill's like that, a little earlier than us.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But we're like the
Mhm.
early ones right now who are like, no, I'm going to see what that's about, and we're like,
I'm gonna
"Oh,
keep
dude,
picking
this
that
is
up.
Cool. This
Yeah.
is really cool stuff. And then we know, people would buy this.
That's right.
They would buy this because
Yeah.
this is actually better, and that's what they've been saying for years.
Yeah.
You know, you listen to like Yo Sammy from
Yeah.
South of Holland.
Yeah.
You know, he's talking about his weed gets half the price. You know, at the coffee house. than
That's right.
Cali bud, and it takes him twice as long. And he's like, that's just how the market is, though. He's not going to
Mhm.
go grow Cali bud. He grows A5 and C5 haze.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well.
So, you know, even though he's like, well, I can't make as much money as that, he's not going to like go switch his whole thing to make more money.
No, that's his thing. That's his
his
passion.
thing.
That's what he's in love with.
And he
man.
would make more money because there's so many people already doing that other thing.
Yes.
He's got his lane.
And thank God he stayed in his lane.
Oh,
because-
thank
right?
God, but
Thank
the point is,
God.
he didn't stay there for money.
Oh my
He
God.
wasn't monetarily like incentivized to stay there because he's making so much money off of the haze.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it. He got
He
addicted
still
to it,
got it.
and he made his whole life about it.
Yeah. Love that. And he'll even
I
argue.
tried, bro. I tried going after that haze, and it's a tough one.
Yeah.
It
Hey.
can be right in front of you, and you won't know it for 6
Yeah.
months until after it's
Yeah.
sitting there.
After that
And
cure,
there's
not
so
only
many
yeah.
of them. There's so many of them. I'm at the point like,
Yes.
no, we just need to remake this shit. What's in it? Bobby and Ty,
Yeah, you do. You got to
Corolla.
remake it.
Let's get some of that shit together. Let's make a new one.
I saw
I did a couple years ago.
you bought some Punta Rojo. I saw you got some projects in the works.
Huh?
I know you're onto something.
Oh, I got those Colombians from Peter.
Yes.
I don't know
Oh,
what one
yeah.
of them is. I'm guessing, but last time I guessed and assumed, I thought we were growing the same Vietnamese. So I don't know if this Colombian is from. I don't know if this Colombian is the one from David Golden Coast, because he has a Colombian, or if it's a completely different one. But there's one Colombian I got, and then I have a Santa Marta Gold. That's another Colombian from Dwight.
I've got that one. I got the Santa Marta.
You got that one.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Sure,
a little
it's the same.
raggedy so far. Like some of the haze plants you'd grow, it's coming out raggedy as a seedling. The other ones are real tight. The other Colombian, I had one that was a twin.
Nice.
Okay,
I
two
love
embryos
getting.
in one. One of them was a
Yep.
run. One was like
Yep.
a quarter of the size of the other one, and I got that one still alive. The other one died. The
Mhm.
other two
Okay.
died. But the runt lived. I'm going to see if this thing will go.
Yeah.
Oh,
We got
yeah.
one runt in the Azad Viet 3, okay, that you sent me in the F1 generation. I had one runt, and that was one of the males I used.
Okay.
He was like, they're like a month behind. Like they seem like they're sick or they seem like they're stunted. And they just sit there and they're like a quarter of the size of the other plants. And then after like a month or so, they just start going on their regular way.
Yeah. Don't know.
They're still going to be smaller, but they're not like inhibited.
Yes. The mother was a runt. The cherry terpene mother, she was a runt, and I babied her because I baby seedlings all the time because I've seen things like that happen. So the mother was a runt. She was behind. She was smaller, and even at full size, she caught up, but she was smaller than all the other Azad Kashmir. She was the runt, but she had the most beautiful terpene profile over all the big ones. The small runt had the best terps, so I wanted to pollinate her. And that's funny that you found one in there.
Well, this is what I was talking to you about in message when I sent you that orchid lecture. In orchids, they talk about the ploidity of these plants more than we do in cannabis. Okay, so they're searching out like a tetraploid. Okay, because these plants are they have a higher chance of winning a prize. They have better morphology, they have better formation, they're healthier. These are like the prize winning flowers. And you can induce that with colchicine, same way it's suggested you do it with cannabis. But there are natural tetraploids, and you can find these plants.
Triploids, right?
Excuse me?
Triploids?
No, tetraploids. Triploids is three sets of chromosomes. Diploid would be two, like traditional. Tetraploid would be 4 chromosomes.
So you have diploid, which is typical, and then you soak diploid seeds in colchicines to make hexaploids, right? And then you cross a hexaploid with a diploid to make triploids.
There's a number of ways to do this math where you get different results. I don't understand it fully, and I think the orchid industry understands it better than the cannabis industry.
I'll have to dig into that. I know somebody who's really into orchids, so
I could send you a lecture that I sent Damien that actually discusses this in detail. Beyond my
cannabis is just a plant where we're so like, oh, it's so super unique and
very
like
plastic to me. These techniques that they're using in the orchid industry are the same techniques we're using. Selfing a plant.
Biology is biology. It's a fucking plant.
They're doing the
we
same
need
thing.
to stop.
They're more advanced because it wasn't illegal. Okay,
Correct.
this wasn't a legal plant. They're scientifically miles ahead of us.
Farther ahead.
Right.
But what he was saying is you can go find these plants. You'd find them at nurseries, and he'd find them, and they would be these runty plants. and the odds are very poor of finding a natural tetraploid.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what they were. They were these runty plants, and these are things I would have thrown this away a couple years ago. I've reevaluated how I do things, and I want to look and see to know rather than just assume I know.
Mm-hmm.
So I've changed how I do things a little bit, and leaving that runt in was one of the changes. And there's nothing wrong with the plant. It was actually like one of the best plants. So it's just the sort of information that gets me like fired up to like follow through with some of this sort of stuff. I don't understand it fully.
But we're learning from all of it. It's all education.
I do believe the Cookie family understood this. I think they spent they sent a lot of lies out and misinformation because they're straight gangster, bro.
Sure.
It's very competitive in San Francisco to sell medical cannabis. Okay, so I'm sure they told a bunch of lies and tried to get people off their trail.
Well, if you found a winning formula to stay on fucking,
they can tell you how they do this shit, bro.
Yeah,
they can tell you their secret. But I
think
saw
there's
a number
something
of
to the
times
male-to-male
where
breeding.
they had their cannabis seeds labeled the way the orchid tetraploids are labeled. Like 4N is one of the designations. 4N, that's a tetraploid. Okay, and I could be wrong. They might have just wrote 4N for whatever reason, but I suspect those motherfuckers knew what they're doing. I think
most likely. Yeah.
Okay, he's a real smart dude.
Yep.
I don't know why he stays out of the limelight like he does. Maybe it's a drag being famous.
Yeah.
But I thought he was miles ahead, the shit he was doing. And then once everybody got a hold of Cookie genetics, they just like got watered down real quick. He was doing a bunch of crazy experiments like that.
I think the things like that are important. Like I'm lucky enough to have the space. Not that I'm super scientific. I mean, I know a bit about biology and whatever, but I have another runt. I have a Vietnamese three-way runt that I babied, and all my Vietnamese three-way are in jars now. They're all cured. I'm smoking them. And I have one in the backyard that's in a pot because it was so far behind the other ones. The other ones I'm smoking now, and this one is just kicking into flower outdoors. But it's a big, beautiful, strong plant. And it was such a small runt. It didn't have any issues other than it was just this small seedling that took forever to grow. And then it was vegging and it took forever to veg. But there was no like weird mutations or anything. And I just thought, I'm just going to keep it because I have the space. And now I'm going to clone it because it's going into flower because I want to see it finish, and it won't finish outdoors. But it's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with this plant. It's strong. And now I'm going to clone it because it's going into flower and I just want to see what's going to happen. I think it's important to just do these little experiments, and it'd be interesting to see if it smells different, smokes different, like if the effects are any different from any of the other ones, or whether or not it was just a runt. Well,
I suspect this is where the higher quality stuff goes. The fact that it has more genetic material, okay, there's a point where that works in its advantage. A plant with 4 times, okay, is going to have a different effect than the plant with 2 sets of genes, 4 sets of genes. Now, in the orchid lecture, he was very clear that you take this much further and you're going to get plants that won't grow.
Okay.
I've got some bag seed that were like that. He called them octoploids, and they're like stumpy little things that won't grow. They grow into themselves.
Wow.
Okay. And this is what happens when you get too many genes doubling up. For humans, it's catastrophic having an extra.
Right.
But for plants, it's very different. And so I have to just assume, just like the males carry twice the amount of genetic material, if these tetraploids are carrying twice the amount of genetic material, that could contribute to them being twice as good. Pretty layman sort of theory.
Sure.
That's my basic logic behind it.
Agreed.
It would make sense why they're that good, because there's more there.
That's why I very much prefer regular breeding, male and female, multiple males, multiple females if possible. I thoroughly understand the point of feminized. I get the appeal and the draw of feminized, but I personally cannot fucking stand it. I don't like that it's dominant in the market. I don't like that that's a major contributor to watering things down, on top of smashing rare mutant on top of rare mutant, and that just never creates
Well,
hardly anything
Shanty
good.
Baba, he says that's not even breeding.
You're
It's
right.
not.
Not even
It's
breeding.
not.
And when you think about it, you're cutting out half the gene
Straight
Yes.
away, right?
Hey,
at the
by
That
getting
Y
the males out.
chromosome.
So that's an incomplete strain. Okay,
Yeah.
a feminized
Yes.
strain essentially is incomplete. Now you do that
Yes.
one time, there has some value there. You're gonna find a
Yes.
prize winner. You do this
Yes.
5 generations off of this same feminized plant. You know
Yeah.
how much genetic material you're lacking?
Lost
course.
so
No
much.
wonder these things
So-
are not performing properly. Let
What I
alone
think-
breeding properly.
What I think feminization is for is, say you have this really particular rare female, right?
Mhm.
You should feminize her and self her. And then you should explore those seeds, and you should find within that phenotypic expression of all those seeds a similar male.
Yes.
And you go, okay, this is what's in the background of this female. I should find a similar male to outcross so that I don't find something radically different.
Mhm.
Because you might not know from that one female, and you'll never find something exactly the same as that female in the feminized seed stock. But it's a breeding tool. It's a tool for you to open up the female and look at a part of her background. Only part of it. Only
It's
the
super
female
cool.
side.
It's super cool.
It's
I just would
super
not
cool.
make it my whole practice, and I don't think it's breeding.
No.
It's an aspect
No.
of breeding.
Yes.
It's a tool for breeding.
It's a tool for breeding. Yes.
But people
But
nowadays
But to
to
release it
I agree with
en masse to the public as a, this is what you should hunt through to find the dankest dank.
well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, you're
Yeah,
a
I don't know.
hobbyist and you're just starting, and the bombest weeds are all female.
Yeah.
It almost
Sure.
makes more sense than regular breeding if you're doing it.
It almost does. It almost does. Yeah.
Because I know what this female tastes like, and I know what this
Yep.
female tastes like, and I'm going to have a predictable result.
This will be a
It doesn't
mix
work
of the
that way.
two, right?
I've grown a lot of these fem seeds. Okay, so some cookies. Sherbert crossed to Gary Payton and come up with plants that are nothing like either one of them.
No, because
because
that's
those
not how it
plants were
works.
so rare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're only going to see the dominant traits that are in the background of those
Which may
two
not be real
phenotypes.
good.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Whereas some of these land race, it's almost like, you get a really good land race and like they're going to all be different, but like they're all good.
Yeah.
They may be a variety of phenotypical expressions and terpene profiles, but the quality is all going to be there.
That's what I've seen.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Yep.
You go the same strain,
All different, but all
they're all different.
quality.
Yep.
And you can pick your lane with a type of land
that's like
race
a
like
personal grower's freedom, or a commercial
that.
facility
Yeah,
can't do that.
freedom. That's
No,
right.
not at all. Yep.
So they're not even going to think like that. They're not even going to look at the plant. They want them all to be the same.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's easier to deal with. So
That's what commercial facilities want. They want
that.
1,000 female seeds so they can pick one or two and run
Yeah.
those 20,000 times.
Yeah.
There's something real liberating about growing, half a dozen or however many of the same variety and seeing that they all turn out like wonderful. They're all beautiful plants. They all smell fantastic. And to see that and have that type of freedom to grow something diverse, it's very rewarding. Like rather than, a pack of seeds, if they're all the same, that's okay if you want to smoke the same jar forever, but
Just buy the clone.
sure.
It
Yeah.
just
Buy the
depends on
clone
the
that you
quality. If
Just-
they're all the same
yeah.
and they're all high
There
quality,
you
it's good.
go.
If they're all the
Keep
same
that
and they
in
suck,
mind.
well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you're buying a pack of seeds, it should be like within a type, unless it's just a crazy hybrid. But if you're expecting seeds to be exactly the same, we're not there yet. We're a long, 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 long ways out for that in cannabis.
Oh, yeah.
And even then, it's still pretty hard. Even in agriculture, you still get freaks. You still get outliers. You get mutants. You get sports. So not every seed is ever going to be exactly the same. You can breed some very dominant types. Let's just put it that way. But cannabis is so expressive and so complex. Even within a type, you have variety. So it's pretty cool. I think that's the fun of it. That's the fun of
that is
phenotyping.
the fun of it, the variety.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But I'm really excited. I want to try. I want to see more male to male breeding. I really think that's where we will find a lot of
I
very
discovered
cool
this
shit.
year, this is where it's at. You got to use divergent males.
Yeah.
Yes,
For
like
the
polar
first
opposite males,
generation,
right?
Yeah.
I got
Yes.
the F1s from Damien, and I took 3 different males. One of them was blunt, one was tall and skinny, and one was bushy and stocky.
There you
And
go.
so I made the F2 with all 3 males and 5
Nice.
females. And so I have the gene pool to make selections from.
Right.
If it's already so limited, you're not going to find something super cool. When you cross, the more divergent the phenotypes are, the more chance of finding that cool thing.
Love
Yes.
that.
Yes.
know-
But you should also
good.
you should be
Go ahead.
crossing those divergent phenotypes from line worked, from true to type breeding plants. Don't take a genetic freak and a genetic freak because they're polar opposites. Like if you take a hype sativa and a hype indica, you might not find cool shit at all in there because you're going to have to do multiple generations of inbreeding to find that cool shit again. It's there because you cross the 2 cool plants, right? But it won't be in that first generation progeny. You're going to
That's
have
the
to
point. You may have to look through a couple generations and do some work.
breed more,
to get
breed
what you
more,
want.
breed more. Yes.
So you
Yeah.
breed the first generation to make a big gene pool with lots of variety, and then you go pick what you want. And you start making your select line.
And make those F2s with variety. Choose a few males to make those F2s.
Well, I'm going to make the
that's a good
F3
deal.
with 1 male.
Right?
Okay, so I made the F2 with three males from the
There you go.
F1.
Yeah,
I'm going to make the F3 here with just this 1 male.
sure.
Start
Because
narrowing.
he's the
Because
one
you-
I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Pulling
He's
out
the
good
chirpy
ones.
male.
now.
He's this magic thing I'd never seen before. And
Yeah.
he happens to be male. So I don't need a bunch for this generation.
Yeah.
I have a lot of diversity in that F2. The F1 has tons of diversity already because it's a true F1 hybrid. The Azid and the Vietnamese 3-way are not related anyways.
No.
So it's a real F1.
That's a good one.
It's a real good one, bro. You did a real good job.
Do you know what's crazy? We're talking about this. I'm just going to bring it up because it fits in with this. I remember when I was doing the Vietnamese 3-way, when I was doing the increase, I had 3 males and 3 females, and that's what I wrote down in my notes. But the truth is, listen to this, is kind of interesting. There was 4 males, and I had a runt in the Vietnamese 3-way. And I kept him and I babied him and I wouldn't get rid of him because I wanted the diversity. And now I just realized, I told you, like, I have this 3-way runt that's outside. So there was a runt male in the Vietnamese and there was a runt female in the Azad. So somewhere in there on both sides, I kept the runt on both sides. Now, the runt male Vietnamese just made the increase, but it's still in there on both sides. And I never took notice of any of that because I never had conversation like this about how you're explaining this, the 4 chromosome or the extra genetic material in there. I didn't know any of this at the time, so I didn't put that in my notes.
Well, we
But
just
I had a
assume
runt
these
on
runts
both
are
sides.
inferior, not superior.
Yes,
You
yeah.
assume they're inferior. What if they're
Yes.
superior?
And I didn't know they were. I knew from other breeders that if you're trying to keep the diversity, don't
want
call
everything.
it. Don't
Yeah.
call that male. Don't call that
Yeah.
female. So I kept them in there. That's really interesting.
I think that's where it starts. We're like, we want diversity, so we're going to leave
Yeah.
everything. That's what Tom Hill said. But then you start seeing these plants, and you're like, oh no, we might be breeding for some of these runts, because if you bred it here and it comes out the next generation, that's inherited.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So if the
Very
mother
interesting.
of the plant that I used, my male runt, his mother was also a runt, that's an inherited trait.
Right.
It's not some random sport.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
A random sport's could be a one-off. It's
Sure.
not inherited. It's very hard to inherit those traits. That's why these things are clones, not breeding lines. But if it's an inherited trait, that means we could pass it on, and then that's just going to pass on to the generation after.
Very cool.
If it passes one generation, it's going to pass to the next.
That's right. If it was there straight away, and
Yeah.
I've seen
That's
it
right.
on
That's right.
both sides. That's really interesting.
I just think this is the sort of stuff that we need to nerd out on.
because
Because
you're
we're not
right.
selling
Yeah.
these bags. We're just doing what we want to. We just want to find this cool shit for ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
If you got to pay for your grow room or your outdoor crop. It has to pay for itself. You're never going to take these chances to find
That's
something
right.
new. You're
Those
gonna
ones
do
are
what
gone.
works. I did what works for years and years because I had to pay my way, bro. And then people buy what people buy. You know, they will buy something better if you show them something better, they'll buy that if they don't know what it is. But it's got to be better. It can't just be different. It can't just be different. It's got to be significantly better. And that's hard to do. But I believe 3 or 4 generations, you're going to take these landrace strains and you're going to make dank.
Yeah.
2 or 3 generations of breeding. I think it's that simple.
That's what Angus said when we had him on.
Yep.
F1. You know, the F1 of the Azad to the Vietnamese 3-way was just like, I'm like, whoa, bro, this is super crystalline. This smells very good. And these aren't like long, lanky plants that take forever. Like you think some sativa. These things finish quicker than the A5, the killer A5, which is a hybrid. You know, the Vietnamese 3-way to the Azad is quick. We're going to see. They're barely starting to show sex now, so maybe they're not so fast.
Yeah. Now I've got one F1 outside. I did something that Ryan said earlier. You popped a whole bunch of males of something. I tried to pop a bunch of the F1s to see the Azad by Viet, and I popped 10 seeds and I got 9 males. So I was like, how am I going to see the end?
It happens to me all the fucking time, dude.
I wanted to see.
I don't need any males. I'm not looking for any males right now.
No males. I don't want one.
Fuck. Here's all these badass
FPs.
males that you should hang on to, but you don't need and won't for a long time.
So it's killing me, man. So I've got one. So I get to look at one F1 female. Unfortunately, I wanted to show everyone what the F1s looked like.
The ones I saw 5 females.
Okay.
There's 1 intersex in the lot.
Yeah.
I pulled. There's 5 females. 3 of them were this very bushy, what I assume to be Azad type dominant. But one of them had this crazy like ambrosia cream smell that I associate with the Vietnamese.
Interesting.
It's like this creamy, limey, key lime. I don't know how to describe it. Yogurt type of cream. And I smelt it on one of those Azad looking things. Okay.
I like that.
I used all of them. You know, the seeds I gave you and Peter. It's a collection of all 5 females and all 3 males. And then two of the females were this Vietnamese hybrid where they got more space in between, and they're extremely colorful. One was half purple and one was all purple.
Yeah, they are.
I'm seeing these F2s outside, and the males are starting to change color. I showed you one of them has that kind of like magenta purpling on the leaf stem. Mm-hmm. The base of this, what the stem attaches to the leaf. The male, that cherry cough drop male, is starting to change color now because it's getting a little cooler at night.
Love it.
So these are going to be really colorful, I think. You had red, you had purple,
there was pink, red, purple. It was unreal.
John's work. That's Snow High, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
That's I never seen weed like that. Closest I saw was like some of the stuff that Tom Hill did. These really cool sativas that got taken to length. And those are outdoors. He did this indoors. That was some beautiful fucking weed, bro.
Thanks, man.
If there was a it's not just a merit badge. If there's like a Nobel Peace Prize or something for this, you would win that, bro.
It's the Sativa Wrangler badge.
Nobody does this. They don't even know what you did.
Thanks,
they don't
man.
appreciate what you did. Taking some 16, 17 weeks indoor. It's so hard not to get overcome with spider mites and just.
Yeah. I think I forget sometimes because I've been growing them for a while.
I didn't make it to the finish line with.
Sure.
So it's an accomplishment that you did that.
Thank you, man.
And then it's beautiful. That. It's not some like.
I wish I could share the jars with you because they're so different. My God, man, the diversity. I wish I could roll them all up with you boys right now. But maybe at Jade Nectar's farm, the FCP Jade Nectar Cannabis Cup, maybe there.
That would be so cool if we could even just do FCP Cannabis Cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got to work on that.
Dude.
Let's get in touch with the captain and tell him it's got to happen.
I recently saw one of these. What's that? The pave that Thai grower, that chip that grows in Thailand. Yeah. She was showing their cannabis cup, and most of it was a landrace, which we don't really have in our cups anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
They had a whole
I
category
smoked.
for land race, and it was like most of the selections because it's Thailand, you know.
I smoked killer fucking Indian land race in India.
Did
There was
you?
flour. It was the one chance we got to have
That's
flour.
another one, bro. You
It
got that
knocked my
badge
fucking
going on that
ass
mission, bro.
out.
Like you actually did the
Oh
mission.
yeah.
Dude,
You know, that's super rare nowadays, bro. That's super rare. You going out to the spot, bro.
It was
Love
sure
that.
that's cool, but it was way cooler for me just to get the invitation and to actually be there because like it was unreal. But like we had Indian weed that like we had been smoking on the whole trek. This was like day 2 or 3 in Grahan, so we were fucking 10 days in already, smoking hash all fucking day long, smoking chillums all day long, and dude busts out 2-year-old aged brick from South India and it hammered us, dude. All fucking 6 of us were sitting around just like baked and glued to the fucking ground. And we were like, but we weren't sleepy. You know what I mean? It was that stony, high gravity fucking weed where it locks you down, but you weren't passed out. I
know.
loved it. It
I
was
love that.
fantastic, dude. And it's like, who the
Oh,
fuck is
yeah.
selling 2-year-old brick? Nobody.
Yeah, come on.
No, it doesn't exist as a
That's
product
what's
that's available to the public.
But I would buy it.
Why
Fuck
can't
yeah, I
you buy
would.
2-year-old hash? This
Exactly.
is a market spot. This is a
I can
market
buy
spot that somebody
20-year-old
who has a
wine.
lot of money is going to take advantage of.
We just have to
First of
get
all, you're not losing
educated.
your product as a perishable item.
That's right.
No.
Okay, this is a big product with
It's
problem with
wine.
commercial cannabis.
It's
You guys
aging.
are
Huge.
for garbage. If you
Yeah.
have a product that will sit on the shelf for 3 years and get better,
Correct.
that is what I see with cigarettes.
Yes,
Because we're
yes,
seeing with
yes,
the long
yes.
flowering varieties, they do that. The hash has
They
no fucking no limit. You keep that shit probably fucking 10 years.
Oh my God. That Brian, you mentioned, you know what? I just thought about it. I've got some of my Burmese that I grew for flour about 2 years ago, and I still have a nug. I got about an eighth nug of it. And
Go
I
smoke
smoked a half a joint of it the other day. And it
Fuck
did
yeah,
what you
huh?
dude, I got fucked up, but it didn't put me to sleep. I
That
thought it
whole
was gonna be-
CBN
there might have been a little
bullshit
CBN,
is-
but it's still,
or
man.
does CBN make you sleep? Fuck.
No, I was elevated, but
Yeah.
my eyes were half shut and I was all cloudy, and it was such a great experience. And I thought it was just going to put me to bed, and it was far out, and it's golden. Oh my God, it's so golden. Like there's no green
Dude.
left in it at all. It's all brown and golden. But I'll tell
The
you
stuff
what,
the stuff that Sean and I had in India was super clean. We had our little 10x loops there with us, and so we break open. It wasn't like real hard compressed, but it was brick. You fucking break it open, pull the things out, and you can kind of find, okay, here is what was a nug, and then you just kind of snap that open and bust open the scope, and you could see it was clean. It was super clean. It
Love
was
that.
all the green was, like you said, super light gold. No green left, but it wasn't all brown and oxidized and
No, not gross looking,
destroyed. And no,
just
it was
golden.
fucking fantastic. And we put it in a chillum, and I think we smoked 2 chillums of it, and we were fucking annihilated. That was the nightcap. We were all fucking watching YouTube and just giggling and having a great time, but like we were glued to the fucking floor. It was awesome. And guess what? There were seeds and stems in it too.
Oh yeah.
Jesus. And probably some trim, like, and like, is that acceptable to a commodity commercial market right now? No. Everybody wants machine trim, super tight. I don't even want to see what the nug looked like. If it doesn't look like a fucking bare shaven pine cone, I don't want to see it. And it's like,
Or a regular cut nug is a marketing gimmick right now. Like
they're so ugly, man.
fresh cut, like for real. Like, come on.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I've got
Yeah.
I've got to head out. I've thoroughly I could nerd out with you guys forever, but I got a couple kids to put bed upstairs, man.
Let's hit up Peter.
I think all of us do. We'll hit up Peter for sure.
Yeah, let's hit up Peter. Anybody
Great chat,
serious
boys.
and down
Nice
in the
hanging out
chat?
with all of you. Welcome
Let's go to Jade
to the
Nectar.
show, Rob.
Yes.
For having
Thanks
me,
for
guys.
hanging out with us.
Really enjoyed this. You guys
This
are
is
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
Rock
Keep
and
coming
roll.
back, Rob.
Anyone
Oh, yeah.
that joined in, thank you for coming, everyone.
Yep.
See you next
Yeah.
time.
Have a great night, y'all.
Let's meet up at
Peace.
Jade Nectar and smoke some dank herbs.
Let's do it.
Oh, shucks. Okay.